What is going on, guys?
What's up?
Out. I'm so creeped out after the intro.
No, you like that music?
Yeah. Let's say capture the aesthetic.
You know what? I didn't have a lot of time to add in all the cool stuff, so I was like, you know what? We got to do this quick. I'm gonna throw this in there just to give it a little.
You're onto something.
A little that spooky vibe.
Yeah. Listen, it's almost September, right? You know, we're a month away, give or take, from Halloween.
It's Halloween season now.
Yes.
Pretty much. We've already got Halloween stuff. We got the doormat out, the Halloween doormat, so we're good.
Damn, it's official.
Yep. Okay. What's up, man?
What's up, Steven?
Okay, so thank you guys for coming on once again. We're going to be covering 1979. We got 6 titles to talk about today, but I think the big thing that I want to I think the big thing about this stream is we got someone, really awesome dude, friend of the channel. He's a broski. Here he is, guys. We've got Garrett from Born2BeRad.
Yo,
What's
up, fellas? Broski, I like that.
Yeah, that's what I always try to say when I pop up your live stream. I'm like, what's up, broski?
I use that way too much, man. I use that way too much. Everything is ski. Everything is got a ski to it. So like Steve skis next to me over here, and Chris skis up there. George Ski is over there.
I like it.
Dinsky. Yes. You can do that.
Dinsky. Yeah, man.
I only go by Barack Obama. That's the only thing I go by.
Barack Obama.
I love it.
That's
I'm definitely excited to talk 1979, man. It's like, what a year in horror. I looked at the list and I was like, damn, like there's some favorites in this list right here. So
a lot of happy
to be here on this list for sure.
Yeah. I was looking from it seems from 78 going forward, probably because of Halloween, but going forward, I mean, it's just every year. I mean, it's going to get harder and harder to really pick and choose and narrow down what we're going to talk about. It's crazy. Sweet. Well, let's see here real quick. Intro hit hard. Like, are you afraid of the dark? Yeah, that's kind of where we got the idea of the campfire aesthetic. So thank you, man. And Brosif. That's funny. All right, guys. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, we've got 6 titles to talk about, and each of us are going to kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say showcase, it's more just bring it into the discussion. If you guys want to talk about something, go ahead. But Garrett, I think you're actually the first time guest, and you're actually starting this whole thing off.
Well,
no pressure.
I appreciate it, especially because I get to actually talk about literally like one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and that came out in March of 1979, and that is Don Coscarelli's Phantasm. So if you've been watching my channel, you know how much of a big fan of this movie I am, and what about this movie I love is just, man, it feels like what Phantasm means, which is basically like a figment of your imagination. You're not sure what the hell is going on, what's real, what's not. And the vibe and tone of this movie just always kind of worked with me. And after I saw this movie, this was introduced to me by my uncle as, one of the greatest horror movies of all time. So putting it on a pedestal like that, I knew I had to kind of check this out. And I kind of knew I had to love it, or he's going to be really pissed at me if I didn't. But I really did. Like, I think it's like a coming of age story mixed in with like this wild, like, what is this demonic entity, or people even say could be alien, of this evil tall man. Like, when you think of all these horror movies that came out, you always have like, you go Freddy, Jason, you just have like a tall guy, like basically like an old man who's tall is like the big villain in this one. Such an odd thing, but I remember the first time I saw this, the one scene that just totally hooked me into this movie was before you really knew exactly what was going on. These you get introduced to some of these characters. Their friend just died, and they're at his funeral, and they walk into the cemetery, and they're all carrying the casket. And their little brother Mike, who's like 13 or 12, is like in the bushes, like with his binoculars, like watching the funeral from afar. And the funeral ends, and he sees that mortician, that tall man character, who is a mortician in this, just take that casket or that coffin, lift it up, and like throw it into his car. And it's one of those things where if you're kind of not paying attention, you might not even notice like that it was a big deal. But when you do, and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, this dude, like this old tall guy literally picked up this casket that was carried by like 5 dudes like 2 minutes earlier and just lofted it into, the hearse. It was like, holy shit, like what's this dude's deal? And from there, it just totally kind of won me over because I was so like, what is this guy? What is going to happen here? And it's kind of like a suburban horror movie. It takes place in like a
Mhm.
neighborhood.
Mhm.
You got this guy that works at the funeral home and all this stuff, and things just get freaking so wild, and you get introduced to a real cool cast of characters, and ended up spawning a bunch of sequels surprisingly, and it kept to a lot of the same characters and stuff. So it's a fun franchise. If you guys haven't seen all of them, I don't know what your memories or anything is about Phantasm, but it's definitely one of my favorites.
My favorite part about Phantasm is the fact that it was basically like an independent film. It's like incredibly low budget, yet somehow it looks fantastic, and it's such a rock and roll movie.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It feels like going back and rewatching it, it definitely feels like for the year that it came out, it feels like it's very ahead of its time. And what I loved about it was that it's like blurring the line between dream and reality. And it does such an effective job at that. And I guess like when I was younger seeing it, I never really picked up on that, and going back now and really appreciating it, just makes me, fall in love with this movie all over again.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I wanted to ask. So, I mean, it's in a way, it doesn't really follow a clear narrative, and it's very, very dreamlike, right? I mean, do you think that does that make it more scarier or confusing the first time you guys saw it?
I think a little bit of both, but I
Yeah.
think sometimes when it comes to horror with me, like a part of me like is okay with being confused because it can kind of send your mind into like this could be this could be that, and it kind of you almost can kind of create your own story there. And I think that that's a good effect for the movie. But it seems like it's kind of one way. But like the more you learn about this mortician and this tall man, the more you realize this ain't just a regular dude, even though there's nothing about him that screams that he's any kind of like threat or there's anything about him that's not human. And then as the story kind of progresses and you see like what his weapon of choice is, and all of a sudden he's got all these like little minions running around that are from like another dimension, like this thing kind of opens up into this world where when you start getting into sequels and stuff, it gets almost like anything can happen. Like there's really no rules at that point, like where you kind of said it can kind of go between the lines of reality and fantasy or dream, and you're not sure exactly which is which sometimes. And but it's the tone of it. There's something. It's either the music or because it takes place in like a suburban neighborhood. But there's something about the tone of this movie that like I can watch this anytime. Like even if it's just in the background or something, and just be like totally chill, just watching this. And it's to me, it's one of my favorites because it can do that for me.
Yeah, no, I remember watching it for the first well, no, it wasn't the first time. It was actually pretty really recently that I've seen this film. But sitting there and that whole scene with the casket happened. And I was sitting there and I noticed it right off the bat. I was like, dude, what in the world? I mean, these caskets, they're by themselves are heavy. Now you're putting a body in there. And my wife, she's on the phone and or scrolling. And I looked over, I was like, did you see that? And she goes, what? And she's like, what about it? He carries a casket. I'm like, clearly you've never had to pick up one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
But,
not light.
yeah, but it happens, like you said, so subtly that you don't even really, if you're not catching it and paying attention, you sometimes will miss it.
Well, I love how it's like it's so atmospheric just from the rip. That entire movie, I mean, it's a combination of the score, the atmosphere, just the characters are just it's very inviting. Like it's a very like cozy type film that I think keeps me coming back to it. And yeah, that just very rich in atmosphere.
The music, I think the score is so well done.
Mhm.
I love the score. That's probably one of my favorite things about the film.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, like being obsessed with the sphere.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
like I absolutely loved it. And then I remember when I was older, I forget what I was watching. I was watching some, or no, maybe it was the interview with Don Cascarelli and Mick Garris, where he was talking about how they threw that sphere over and over and over again to try to get the shots of it flying. And I just pictured all these dudes in like these, marble hallways just chucking this thing around.
How many things they broke and hit people.
Yeah. And then it's like finally somebody was like, why don't we just put it on a string? like on a thin piece of wire, and we'll send it down the wire. You're like, yeah, that sounds better.
Yeah.
No,
Or
that
even the effect of like sticking in the head and the blood shooting out of the little exit hole.
it's
Mhm.
got a
Oh,
little.
it's
It's like
gnarly.
a little spout to shoot out.
Yeah.
You're right.
But even like I remember falling in love with the scene, even when like the movie goes full bore once kind of the portal opens.
Oh yeah.
And that's when it really gets like you're just what the fuck is happening? Like
Well,
I
it
don't
just
even know.
opens up a whole different world. I mean, it's like Narnia. They just, it falls into that little. I don't
Close
know.
Yeah.
enough.
I think
A
though,
very twisted one.
I think people need more exposure to movies like this though, because I think just as like a society with movies, we've become so accustomed to like the give you all the information, the very straightforward narrative structure, which you don't need. You know what I mean?
No.
You don't need that if your story has or if your movie has a proper flow and a vibe and you need to just give yourself over to it. And once you do that, you just strap in, put on your seatbelt and hold on. The ride is a ton of fun. And once people start breaking it down too much and you start picking apart what makes sense and what doesn't, you're
Mhm.
kind of going beyond, it's not intended for that. And for anybody wondering who hasn't seen this movie, um, the I know a lot of the restoration work was actually done by J.J. Abrams.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
he's
Okay,
a
I didn't know that.
massive fan of Phantasm. Like him and his studio did a full restoration of Phantasm. Like was heavily involved in this movie, staying current, and it still is to this day. Like with Don Coscarelli.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dan's right. It's very mesmerizing, especially like the sequences that take place in like the mausoleum. There's just something about it that just it feels like it could have been like literally ripped from a dream. The way
Yeah.
that it plays out, and the silver spheres like chasing after him. Like it's just I don't know. I think for that time when it came out, it's definitely something very unique.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Are you guys sequel fans? Have like I've only seen 2 and 3 because I know it kind of gets a little messy at like 4 and 5.
Yeah, I did a video, and it was called "The Most Underappreciated Horror Franchise," and it was Phantasm because number one, I feel like the first one is an ultimate classic, and kind of
Mhm.
piggybacking off some of the stuff that you said. When I saw that restoration that Abrams did, it came back out in theaters for like a short time, and that's like kind of what we see now in the Blu-ray sets. And this is actually like this is a 4K
Hmm.
media book, and it's the only way that this is out on 4K currently. It was kind of an overseas release, but it looked so good when they restored this thing. It was like unbelievable to see this after they restored it for the first time. And what you said about these movies kind of leaving things not a little bit open ended sometimes to kind
Mhm.
of create your own story behind it and not giving you away too much. I just saw Weapons. I don't know if you guys saw that by any
Oh
chance.
yeah.
Anybody has
Yeah,
seen it?
that movie.
I freaking loved it. And I'm pretty damn picky when it comes to especially modern movies. And I saw it was on Sunday. So I went and I saw Turtles in the theater, the 1990
Oh
Turtles
hell yeah.
with some buddies. And we got out and I was like, we're leaving. And I'm looking around and I'm like, oh man, I need to see Weapons. I need to see Together. And then they're like, oh, we should go next week. And I'm like, dude, you know what? Like, it's so hard for me to like get out and do this. Like, we're already here. Like,
Yeah.
let's just go get something to eat, come back, and we'll watch Weapons. So we went and got food and came back. And, we're sitting in the theater and the credits start, like the trailers start. Dude, I'm dozing off. And I look at my buddy, I'm like, I'm
Oh god.
done, dude, I'm done. Like, because I've had that happen before. Like, my body, when I sit down, it has trouble like just sitting down. Like when it sits down, it wants to shut down. That's basically how my
Same.
body works.
Yep.
And like today, like I told you guys before we started, I'm like, I'm driving home, I'll be there soon. Like that's like I have to work this way. If I
Yeah.
stop and sit down, like it's over. So I was like freaking out because I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to review this thing. I'm not gonna be able to even watch it. I'm gonna be out within seconds. And as soon as that opening movie hit with like the kid talking and it's like the crawl came, I was locked into that movie from start to finish, and it had me like from the first sentence of that movie. And there was a lot of plot holes in there. So like there's a lot of like why did this happen? But it didn't affect me at all. Like it didn't make me mad like some other movies would be, where it's like doesn't make any sense. It kind of made me want more, which
Yeah.
find these things out, and come to find out they're actually considering maybe doing a prequel for this, talking a little bit more about the woman or whatever. But I didn't know if you guys liked it or not. I know it's kind of getting
Mhm.
mixed reviews, I guess, more a little bit on the positive, I guess, but I couldn't believe how much I really liked this movie. And I literally went into this with zero. I didn't know anything about it. I saw a poster. That's it.
Oh,
Didn't
it's
watch a
even
review,
better.
didn't
Yeah.
watch any trailers, nothing. So I didn't have any clue what this thing was about, except it had some kids in it running down a street. That's all I knew. Did
Naruto
you
style.
guys what would you say?
Naruto style.
Yeah, like when I was watching, I was like, it's like when Super Mario or something when you're
Yeah,
when you're running. That's
Oh,
what
when
I
you would
thought, but
speed up and the arms would go back.
yeah.
yeah,
So you guys all saw it?
I
Yeah.
didn't. No.
Yeah.
yeah. I
I
think
did.
Chris is the only one who hasn't seen it.
What did you guys think of it?
I loved it.
You did.
It's
Yeah, was
Jordan
great.
and I were talking about it a little bit so far for the year. I would say, um, I would have to say it's like neck and neck with Bring Her Back, and both movies are just
Ooh.
very, at least for me. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just feel like they're very different tones for the movies,
Mhm.
but I love that these are both like very original concepts. That's what I want to like praise the most. Is this is what I'm always looking for, when I go to the movies, not just, rehashed ideas or, I mean, I love the Marvel or DC movies, but, to have a little diversity there is important.
Yeah, I thought it's neck and neck with Bring Her Back. And Bring Her Back, I thought was really, really good. That movie.
It's like
That
a gut
movie's
punch.
messed up in some scenes, pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
But
it's funny how Zach Kreger now is doing Resident Evil. And he was in an interview, I think with it was like Fandango or something, and he was like, "Yeah, it's one character that we're gonna follow from point A to point B, and everything that happens in between, which is Resident Evil." You know what I mean? And people are losing their minds. They're like, "That's not what we want," because he says he's gonna add like his own spin. That's not what we want. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, look, we got another, Ari Aster or another. Who's the other like Robert Eggers,
Yeah.
mhm.
where now he's to the point where everybody's going to start picking what they want from it, setting expectations for what they want from him. And like Barbarian, I love. My wife and I went and saw it like right after it
So much
opened.
fun.
Mhm.
Didn't even see a trailer for it, and even the narrative to that is not straightforward. It bounces around so much. And half the movie is what was advertised to you, the other half was never advertised to you.
Mhm.
And I loved it, man. It was such a good experience. So we need to get out to see Weapons.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
It's gonna
I think
be
you're gonna dig it.
it's gonna be interesting, and I'm really excited to see how he's gonna handle a franchise over an original idea. Kind of see with
Mhm.
that take on it. It's gonna be really cool.
I mean, he's had two good bangers coming out
Yeah.
with his with Barbarian in this, and yeah, I mean, I didn't see Bring Her Back. I haven't seen it yet, but everybody says that. They always keep saying these are the two movies of the year kind of thing, and this is
Yeah.
this resembles this or this is kind of.
Mhm.
And I ordered the 4K. It just hasn't come yet. So yeah, so I am excited to see it once it gets here, but because
Yeah.
I keep hearing good things about it. But anyway, kind of floating back to the sequels of this, I do like them a lot, and I think
Mhm.
that part 2 is really good, and to some extent, a lot of people say 2 and 1 are like neck and neck
Mhm.
for
Okay.
their favorites. They unfortunately there was an incident where they had to get it where they got a new actor because this one actually because the original did so well, this one was actually produced by a studio, and they wanted like quote unquote a older, better looking kid to play Mike. So, they made Mike, the original Mike, audition for his own part, and they ended up picking like another kid.
It's so weird.
And it's
Poor
kind of
guy.
just like, and Don Coscarelli didn't want to do it, but the studio forced him to do it. They wanted their lead to be like this hunky dude. And unfortunately, Mike, Michael Baldwin, like that, he wasn't what they wanted. And then it did well. And then part 3 ended up, I think, something happened, but it ended up going straight to video, and then they brought the old Mike back. And 3's cool. 3's, people kind of iffy on it, but it's like it's a little more action based. There's like a character in it that's like kind of like a Home Alone type kid. Like they try to capitalize on that as a new character, like a kid with like all these like traps and different like weapons and stuff. And
Yeah.
4 is actually really cool because it's like a road movie, and it literally the original Phantasm was so long that they cut so much out that the fourth one, they splice all those in as like almost like flashback sequences. So you see all
Oh,
the
that's
stuff
right.
they cut from the first one. So it's actually really cool because you're seeing all this stuff from Mike when he was little and the tall man and stuff that you never saw before. And you're kind of like, holy shit, like this is wild because it's all these scenes that you never even knew existed to kind of wrap around the story. So I think 4 is really good as well. 5 is where it gets really messy because that
Yeah.
came way later. Like they just wanted to do it to get like Angus one more run and so much CGI. They didn't know it was not the same. It doesn't feel the same. 1 and 4 though feel very, intertwined as one long movie.
Didn't they shoot Phantasm 5 in a weekend?
Probably. I mean,
I
it
think
felt it.
I
Wow.
think I remember Don Cascarelli saying like, "I'll do it as long as we can do it in a weekend."
He's busy. I got
And,
stuff
like,
I want to
you
do.
know,
Man. I would say
Wow.
the first 4 are those are the ones that usually stick out to me. I think anything after that point didn't really I don't find myself going back to and watching them as often.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Phantasm 2 is okay. The sequels, I definitely rank 3 over 4 and 2. What are your guys' ranking on the Phantasm films?
they're probably pretty in like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
me.
I would probably say that 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd probably say. But yeah, I there are people that don't like 2, just mainly because it's weird because it's like the only one of the franchise with a different mic,
Mhm.
which kind of strange. But it's a great story from 1 through 4, start to finish. It's a lot of same characters are all there, so it feels all part of the same story, and they do a good job kind of continuing them and learning a little bit more about each character. So I think it is truly as a franchise in horror. I think it's super underappreciated for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think we can go on and on with these with Phantasm. I mean, this movie it was a great movie, and the ending too. I mean, take the other ones out. The ending is just it's wild. It leaves it on the cliffhanger, and you think it's a dream that he's just having this nightmare because now, right, his their best friend's back and he's alive. So
Mhm.
it's really great.
You find yourself questioning everything.
Right? Oh, until you see him at
100%.
the end in the winter in the mirror, and then
Yep.
just shatters everything.
That's so good.
Literally. Cool. Well, I'm gonna say what's up to a couple people in here, then we'll go to the next one we're talking about. What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
What's up, Brian?
Ellie Jewel, what's up, guy?
What up, man?
What's up?
Yo.
Let's see. Anybody else in here? Dan, regrettably haven't seen any of the sequels yet.
What would you guys recommend? I don't know which like set you guys have. I have the Welgo
Same.
set, which I
Okay.
love, and that's what I remember talking to Christian when I was looking to buy the sequels, and he was like, "That's the set to get." So I
Mhm.
seeked it out. Do you have another box set people could probably seek out? You'd recommend, Garrett?
I would say the Welgo one is what I have. That's the one with him sitting on the front, right, like sitting down.
Yeah,
And
individual
they're
clear
all
case.
individually packed and stuff. Yeah, that's a really
Yeah.
nice set. Problem is, I think it's hard to get now. Like it's out of print, I think, and it's probably expensive. I don't even know what isn't expensive when it comes to the Phantasm movies, unless you want to get like the standalone Anchor Bay ones.
Well,
Um,
they
that
Arrow has this one. And
now is that easy to? Ooh, I don't have that. Is
yeah,
that
this
easy to still acquire?
yeah, I got it from Orbit.
Like recently?
Yeah, recently priced. Yeah,
Oh,
like
shit.
retail. So it's got it's got 1 through 5 all the way to Ravager.
If you can still get that, I would say probably that. Now, is everything region locked though? If anybody,
It is region B, so that is a if you don't have a region free player, that is something to consider.
You
It's
guys think
actually still available on Arrow UK.
wow,
Let's see if there's any
But
diabolic.
honestly, I liked this one better than the big one with the sphere, just because I didn't like how they packaged the
were
disc.
right. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
agree.
mean this one you at least get individual cases for each film.
So if you are region free, you can get that set that Jordan just showed on Zavvi US for $57.99.
it's not bad.
Available.
And that's
Yeah.
with all
Or
of them?
yeah, because Orbit right now is out of stock. It was $56.99, but Arrow UK is in stock right now.
Okay, so there you go, guys. Definitely available if you are region free, or you can go try that Welgo USA, which I did try to find, but it's pricey.
Do you
I
guys
think,
think
yeah,
we'll
I
get?
think it was like $55 I paid. I got lucky, I think.
Yeah.
Do you guys think we'll get 4Ks in the States for the?
I hope so. I think so.
I don't see
Kind of
why we
surprised.
wouldn't.
Coscarelli's funny though. Like that's the thing. Like, like he's interesting. He's very protective of his movies and um even the fact that like it surprises me that he's still going with Well Go in the States because it's like what else are they doing? It's like I feel like that's a weird company to give such a strong franchise to. But he is very protective of it, and that's one of the reasons. But Well Go kind of fumbled a little bit recently with their franchise, and he was pretty pissed about that.
Oh,
If you guys don't
Hmm.
remember, they did like a 1 and 2 because they put out 2 uncut in like a 2-pack. I have it over here, but it's like a 2-pack. You can still probably get it, but they ended up having like they put the wrong disc in or something like that. So they had to do all these disc replacements for it. And I guess he was really upset about that.
Wow.
But he's got other movies. Like if you like his style, which I really do, the one thing about him, he doesn't have a lot of movies. Like he's got the Phantasms. He's got a movie called Kenny and
yeah, that's
Company,
true.
which is pre-Phantasm, which is like a coming of age story, which is fantastic. Then he has a post-Phantasm movie called Survival Quest, which is another great movie too. But again, they're all hard to get now. Like those are just still stuck on DVD. And then he had like I think he did one for Masters of Horror.
Oh,
And
that's
then he
right.
did
Yep.
John Dies at the End, which was a wacky, wild kind of movie that came out in the 2000s. I don't even know what else he's done other than
Garrett,
those.
have you had a chance to meet any of the cast from any of the movies?
Oh yeah,
Like,
I've got I got a poster signed after Angus passed. I had met Angus, got an 8x10 signed.
That's
He
sick.
passed during a convention they were all supposed to be at. So I have this poster with him in the front and the whole
Yeah.
cast signed around it. It's pretty sick.
That's
oh
awesome.
man,
Yeah. So Coscarelli and everybody.
What's going on, Jeff?
what's up, Jeff?
I have to
Oop.
bring this up. My wife,
What's up, Larissa?
great
Hey,
guest
thank
for
you so
tonight.
much.
It's
Thank
funny.
you.
I'll watch one of your lives. She goes, "Oh, Garrett's on." Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank
You
you
know,
so
she
much,
knows
man.
Garrett.
I
For
love it.
sure. Let's see. While we're waiting for Chris, as someone who has never watched Phantasm, what would you say to me about this film to get me to watch this?
Probably
bonkers.
rewind this video to when I start talking and then just go from there.
Yeah,
It's-
go back.
It's definitely. I mean, I think it's I mean, obviously because we're covering it, but it's definitely a highlight from the '70s. Like, I don't really find myself like there's not a ton of movies I feel like are like overly similar to this one. That's why I think it stands out so much.
100%.
You know,
It's not like anything else. And that's where I feel like Coscarelli really stands out is like look at a lot of his stuff and it's like he's so out there. It's like this is not like anything else. And a Saturn video just said Bubba Hotep, which I forgot about. So he's right. That's another Coscarelli
I was
movie. And it's
gonna
freaking
put that up too,
bonkers,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So I mean, you think about his discography and stuff and his filmography or whatever, and you're like, holy shit, this guy is he's just so original with his content.
Yep.
I will say for late
Except
70s American horror, Phantasm is like the rebellious side of it because as you're going to see in a lot of the other movies we're going to talk about tonight, there is a certain level of prestige to horror still at this point. You know, we haven't really reached the point where it was kind of celebrated to be a little trashy. Phantasm does feel kind of like the guy in the greaser jacket among the jocks. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. I can
And
see
it's
that.
funny because
That's a good way
it's
to put
held.
it.
Yeah, it's held on the same standard. I mean, we're talking about it alongside, so it's a very rock and roll experience when rock and roll was still kind of being shunned as devil's music. You know?
Mhm.
Perfect.
True.
Well, I think that's a great way to end it with this one. Let's go ahead and move on. We're going to be talking about this. Now, this one came out in May, so just a couple of months later, and we are talking about David Cronenberg's The Brood. Now, this is a heavy hitter for me. This is actually one of the first David Cronenberg films I had ever seen. This one definitely is a slow burn. I rewatched this the other night with my cousin. He had never seen it, and he was not about it at the beginning. It's a funny thing. He's 21, and so I was like, dude, let's watch this. I'm trying to inch him into horror a little bit more, and man, I kind of told him the concept of the film. Oh, it's really cool. Let's watch it. And then he was like, there's nothing going on. I'm like, you just got to hang on. And this definitely is one of those movies where if you just wait, it pays off. The payoff of this movie, it gets wild. Of course, you got Cronenberg with his signature body horror throughout the film. Not throughout, it's more towards the end. I think the performances in this movie are fantastic. And then I think what's really cool about this, and we could talk about this a little bit as we talk more about the film, it's actually was pretty much inspired by a real something that really happened to David Cronenberg. That's kind of where he got the idea for this movie, which I think is just the fact that what he had to do for that situation in his life that inspired this film is it's pretty crazy. And it's definitely up there as one of my favorite Cronenberg films.
Okay. I respect that.
Yeah, I can respect that. The Brood is funny, man, because Cronenberg has this way of there's no everything feels like a cold open. Like all of his movies just start. You're not like think of like The Fly. You're just thrust right into the character. You know what I mean? It just
Yeah.
starts. Cronenberg wastes no time, and his movies are relatively short. For like you know, these could be 150-minute movies, and I'm sure nobody would really complain. But there is to The Brood, if you're really paying attention, just this like slowly mounting tension that just continues to like swell and swell and swell. And I think I don't know if it's because it's the amount of questions you start to build up so quickly, especially with character motives and you know everything. There's a second side to every story. My only thing with The Brood is it feels like the middle of the movie involving like once you kind of arch into the third act and you get into the children that are running around, that's more interesting than what actually happens at the end of the movie. And the movie's kind of marketed around the second act events more than it is the third. But man, it's fucking creepy.
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah, the whole and it's if you guys have seen the movie, haven't seen the movie, sorry, but it's been out since 1979, so you guys should probably have seen it.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, the ending, and I was watching this interview with I can't remember the actress's name, plays the main character. She talked about how that whole scene of her picking up that creature or the brood and licking it and cleaning it, that was a whole improv thing. She kind of tapped into like an animalistic mentality of kind of how dogs would clean their pups. And that's kind of what she went for with that. And man, it delivers. It's pretty, well, yeah, it grosses you out and it's pretty shocking because you don't expect that whatsoever. But they tease it. If you watch like at the beginning, the opening shot when Oliver Reed is having his therapy session with the guy, I mean, you start to see the welts start to kind of grow on him. So there is something, what do they call it? Psychoplasma or psychoplasm. There's something to that. And they kind of sprinkle it throughout the film and it just grows. Like you said, Chris, just grows and grows until the very end.
Yeah. It's like you guys said, it definitely is a slow burn, which I do actually enjoy with horror. You know, if it has a payoff, I'm good with slow burn. I like to kind of figure out what's going on, kind of just sit and immerse myself in the story. And I can see people not even making it to where things start to get crazy because it is a really slow burn. Like, what is this even about? Like, what's going on? But similar to what I said with Phantasm, when, you know, Mike was looking in the binoculars and he picked up that coffin, same thing happened here. I don't know if this was my first. Fly was probably my first Cronenberg. This was early, though, because I had bought a DVD from like MGM or something, I think. And back in the day, and man, when I saw those kids in the classroom, like that was it. Like I was like totally like locked into this movie and I was like, holy shit, this is insane.
Yeah.
And it was scary and freaky as hell. And then from that point on, it just gets freaking wild. But if you can, anybody who hasn't seen it, like embrace the story and just wait.
Yeah. You know, sometimes it's even good to go back for a second watch on this one, I would say, because you're going to get a lot out of it. Watching again, now that you get the pacing of the film, kind of an idea where it goes and where it's heading to, a rewatch definitely would help, I think.
Well, I think that there's like obviously deeper themes with this movie as with I feel like a lot of Cronenberg's films, but especially with this one, it's such a bleak movie. And you can definitely tell that I think a lot of his personal life was like bleeding out into this film. And man, I'll tell you what, the payoff at the end is amazing. And I remember like before I even saw the movie, seeing that still of the daughter, and you have the brood that's like breaking through the door, trying to grab her. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, what is going on? Like, what is this about?
This
And
scene right there.
yep. So it's like I
Yeah.
had to know more about it, and that was early on when I was getting into David Cronenberg. But yeah, this film definitely delivers. But I think you got to be like in the right mindset to sit down for this
Ooh.
one.
Yeah, I think there's definitely other Cronenberg films out there that's more of eye candy, eye catching type of film than The Brood for sure. Um,
It's incredibly bleak, but it's David Cronenberg is very good with humor. His humor is just so dark. It, like every time I think of David Cronenberg humor, I think of like the opening of History of Violence, like at the hotel.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like or like he does have that humor, but it's not. It's kind of like if you're not paying attention, if you're not going to get it, or if you're not into that black, kind of that black humor. But this movie's sort of humorless. Like it's just unrelentingly
Yep.
upsetting. You know.
yeah.
And that's exactly like Saturn said. You can kind of
Yeah.
see he was in a different mindset, in this
Mhm.
one.
Well,
Yeah.
what's crazy too, the whole idea he had to go to California to rescue his kid,
Mm.
Hmm.
right? His wife had joined that cult, and it was just wow. I couldn't imagine. Um, what do you guys think? Because this movie treads the line of body horror, but also kind of a psychological drama about trauma itself.
Hmm.
What do you think in you? What does it work better as a body horror film or like a psychological type movie?
I mean, the body horror is such a small piece of it. Like,
Mhm.
it's like 2% of the runtime. It's like the
Yeah,
final 3 minutes of the movie. So to me, it's much more effective as psychological horror. I mean, it's also kind of it's very, I guess, like proto slasher, you could call it. I mean, it does have you know some slasher elements in there. So
I think the psychological aspect. I mean, the body horror definitely enhances the movie, but I
hmm
think at its core, like the psychological horror, is really what drives this film, and especially with, they're obviously dealing with themes of like trauma and abuse, and the family dynamic and how complex it can be, especially when the parents are going through such a difficult situation to get through.
yeah.
Obviously, through Cronenberg's lens, but yeah, he definitely does a very effective way, or like an effective job at like displaying that, and kind of putting his own spin on those themes.
It's cool to see Cronenberg. Obviously, we know as he's known for his body horror. I mean that's what Cronenberg. To see him do a different take, kind of like this film, it's really cool.
yeah,
Um,
I think
n-
what's cool here. Sorry, Jordan, just real
no,
quick.
keep going.
I think what's cool here, especially when we're talking about this year, is this is the darkest movie of the bunch. That this is kind of we're hitting all sides of, I feel like, the genre as we go through these 6 movies, and this is definitely on that darker side. I think it's the darkest side you can get to, and I think if the goal of this series was to kind of give people 6 picks from every year to kind of get
Hmm.
a really good full examination of horror as it's evolved through the years. I think this is a perfect example of the really like early examples of, because everything's trauma now in our current state of horror. This is a very early example of it that's not pushing onto you like this extreme message. It's just a very bleak story that's very affecting and haunting and will change your view of kids in jackets forever.
And the full snowsuits walking
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know if that's a little kid or like an old demon thing. I don't know what that is
Yeah.
over there. I don't know.
yeah. Those things were creepy. I just remember first time seeing it, um, seeing the character Oliver Reed's character going up in the second story, and
Oh
he's
yeah.
trying to be quiet to go get the girl, and you see the one perched
Yeah.
like a freaking crow behind him,
Yep.
just sitting there.
Or
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
they're
man, they were
lurking on the
creepy.
staircase, very creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, those things, I'm telling you. Um, I had a question.
Where
forgot what it
where does
was.
this one rank for you guys in Cronenberg's filmography? Like, do you consider this like S tier or the next tier down, or
So
It's hard to say because this almost stands alone in a weird way.
I mean, I have a weird Cronenberg ranking. My two least favorite Cronenberg movies are surprisingly The Dead Zone and Eastern Promises.
Mm, okay.
Those are two of my least favorite. And then on the other end, History of Violence is by and far my favorite Cronenberg movie.
I love that movie.
So I would put The Brood probably in like my top 5. I'm just not. I can't tell you pinpoint an exact position right now. That's just a general.
Oh, that's fair. What about you
Yeah.
guys?
It was always to me towards the top. I mean, obviously you got things like the Fly and stuff like that. I love Videodrome as well, but yeah, I would say towards the top of it. But I mean, I feel like I don't know. Like I feel like when I watched this the first time, I was so like in awe with those kids, and like then when it got to that end, I was so like in shock of what I was seeing. And then I feel like as I started to watch it again and again and again, because I knew all that stuff, it was like it kind of almost fell down my ranking a little bit with him.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's still. I mean, he's one of the best, of course, and I can appreciate this film so much. And like you said, it when I think of it right off the bat, I'm like, oh, body horror. I did a body horror video, and of course that was in there. But when it really comes down to it, like you said, it's definitely more of a psychological movie than the body
Yeah.
horror, because like you said, it really is that third act that we're going to see a lot of that stuff. But for me, it's one of the better ones for me. Probably like, mid to high tier.
I
Yeah.
would agree.
I would agree too. And then that does pose a question I was going to ask. Do you think that the kind of the pacing that it has makes the ending kind of the payoff more powerful in a way? Or do you think it just does it just drag?
I
think if you can get there.
Yeah.
If you can get there.
This is the biggest struggle though with getting people into earlier genre films is like the 70s was a very specific kind of pacing. Like, it's very honestly, like storytelling was just different then. I feel like audiences were more patient,
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we're
It's
going to see
very
a lot of that with what we're talking about tonight. Like even Phantasm.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, there was minor things that happened, but then you said once like the portal and stuff, that and things get really crazy. So it kind of leads up to that, even though there is some cool stuff that happens. But him walking down the street slow mo and people on their doorsteps playing music is probably not exactly what people are thinking of when they want to get into this movie that's supposedly like such a great horror movie. Same with this one. It takes time, and there's other ones we're going to talk about tonight too that it's the same way. Like they don't start out hot and heavy. Like you've got to kind of get into the story before they really take off. And you're right. And I think for me, that's why I love 70s horror so much, is that there actually is that kind of buildup, which I do think is missing quite a bit in a lot of movies nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nowadays, it has to be like a roller coaster. That has to be like an endless, like you can dip down, but then you got to have a spike and you got to do that over and over again. Back in the 70s, a lot of this was like mounting tension. It started at ground level and it just very slowly raised until you had that third act explosion. And people have a hard time with that. But also, too, like the 70s, I think, especially if you look at it from like a film school perspective, if you want to learn really intelligent ways to explore character, I think the 70s are great because there's incredibly interesting, even side characters in a lot of 70s horror are better than a lot of main characters now, because the movie's patient enough to highlight them and give them some purpose, and therefore you attach them a little bit different if you can get yourself through the experience. I almost feel like, I don't know about you guys, I feel like anymore a lot of new movies, I feel, especially being in like this post Terrifier generation, I almost feel like overstimulated with, like it's too much.
Yeah, but if I look at the movies that I really like now, like I can appreciate Terrifier, but it's not a movie that like I'm gonna say is a top tier movie for me. Like it just isn't. Like I don't collect Arthur Clown stuff. I don't have Terrifier posters on my wall. I appreciate it, but it's not one that I would be like, oh, I'm gonna go all in on this movie.
Yeah.
But even just talking about this year, I loved Sinners. I loved it a lot. But that's another one. Like a lot of people didn't like Sinners because nothing really happened for a while. Like you've got to kind of it was a building story. And half the people wouldn't even, if they don't get through it, they would be like, hey, I heard it was a horror movie. It's not. Or I heard it's this. It's not. I loved Weapons, and I feel like there was a lot of stuff going on before you even knew what the heck this movie was about. There's a lot of story that they were telling, and I think that's why I was really, engrossed with it, because I was learning what the heck was going on and finding out what the heck is this movie about. They've got all these different stories going on to leading up to this, one scene where all of a sudden the movie kind of shifts, and I think just did a great job with it. So I think when it comes to movies, like even Hereditary, I love Hereditary, and like a lot of people might say that thing is boring as shit for a while, watching that movie, but I think that's what I enjoy. So there are some movies out there doing this still, but there are, like you said, you've got that whole other side of the fence where people want that like balls out right away. How far can we take this thing? How fast can we move? Like I saw Jimmy and Stiggs, and that's kind of that style of movie. It's like just like bonkers from the get-go all the way through.
Well, Jordan, you and I talked about Sinners and
I wanted to bring that up.
How like actually I was kind of like mid-tier for Sinners. I thought it was okay, but it really went downhill for me once it introduced the horror elements. Once the vampires, I was that's when I started not liking it.
The story was my favorite part. The world building, though, I loved that. The story of the two brothers and the whole idea with his relationship, one of them, the other one where they can't with their kid, and that whole story, the Smoke and Stack, and even the whole idea of there's certain musicians throughout time who can bring past and present and future together. I thought that was great. But yeah, it's when the vampire stuff started coming for me personally, and it sounds like for Chris as well, it just kind of fell flat. And I don't know. Maybe it was because I was such in the rhythm of the storytelling that it just kind of, I felt slapped in the face in a way, and it was just very jarring, I think is the best way to put it for me.
I will say though, for this year specifically, I feel like the amount of like original horror films that we've gotten, I mean, I would say that this is like probably the most prominent year that we've had in, I feel like, some time.
Yeah. I mean, people can say Sinners is very similar to other movies out there, like in certain ways, but I agree. Like I didn't, if the vampire stuff didn't happen, I still would have loved the movie. Like you said, there was so much about it. It reminded me of a Tarantino flick for the first half or whatever, or 3/4. I appreciate the vampire stuff because in my head, I'm kind of like, oh, it's a horror movie and it's so great, and it's actually a great movie, and people that don't even like horror will really dig this one too, and because it's only a touch of horror, but I do think it was cool, but I don't think it was needed. I think it was already a great movie, no matter what they decided to do with it. But I think the fact that it was considered now horror, and it is such a good film, I kind of like, that's what I like about it, because it does give horror a little bit more eyes of a movie that didn't need it.
Well, I think, Jordan, that's exactly what we said. We said you could remove all the vampires from Sinners and it wouldn't change. Like, to me, it would actually, I think, like, I don't know, like the ending of Sinners, like the ending sequence,
sure, yes.
Which you guys know what I'm talking about. The ending sequence is better than any of the other horror stuff that comes before, in my opinion. Like, it really picked up for me at that very end. But yeah, I mean, as far as original horror, like I'm happy that movie did as well as it did, because we need these movies to succeed. We need Weapons to do good. We need this stuff to happen. It was just one that didn't really, I don't know. I kind of watched. There was like my wife and I almost kind of hit, like, at the same time we hit a wall, and we were like, okay, something happened here. Something dropped off.
Because I think they stopped telling the story and went into like action, full on action at that point. And that's kind of where.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, any more thoughts on the Brood before we move forward?
No, it's just highly recommend if you're looking to get into David Cronenberg's films. This is definitely up there.
Yeah, Saturn said something. Watch it once, watch a video essay, then watch it again. That's how you recommend to watch the film.
Yeah, I know he was also pointing out, looks like Dead Ringers really appreciated that one.
Oh yeah, Dead Ringers.
That's one that I don't think gets talked about enough.
Mm-hmm.
It oddly enough, it's the one that got a TV series as a spinoff.
That is true. Forgot about that.
They're like, what's one of the most least known David Cronenberg films? All right, we'll make a series out of that one.
What's up, William?
What's up, William?
Cool. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and move to our next one. I think Chris, this is you.
This is a big one, man. I was kind of I kind of felt over like I kind of felt intimidated by this one, honestly. When this,
Nah, man, just go feet first.
I know you love this
Dude.
one. That's why I had to give it to you.
yeah, dude. June of 1979 unleashed Alien, and dude, I don't know. What?
Oh, he's just always showing up with his VHSs signed and all these crazy editions.
I came to play.
Love it.
I don't know about you guys. One, I want to say, like, I'm a bigger Alien fan than I am of Aliens. I think Aliens is okay. I think compared to Alien, it's not even in the same tier. That's just me though. Dude, when I was a kid, Alien actually didn't work for me when I was a kid because, again, the pacing is so slow up until, the scene in the is it like the garage? Is that like with the hangar? Yeah, and like the hangar.
Yeah.
When the movie really picks up. But technically and creatively, Alien is, in my opinion, a perfect movie. Like, the opening sequence is brilliant. Just the ship kind of waking up, how well it's all shot. The slow reveal of the xenomorph is still looked at and studied today for monster movies. And I don't think many movies have ever really reached this tier yet. It's kind of hard to talk about, man, because it's so perfect. And it's such a simple movie. It's a very simple survival movie. There's an alien on the ship, and we have to survive. It's not an action movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going for the gusto. It's just this experiment in patience and in terror that works so well. And dude, like, there are levels and layers to this movie that you can peel back beyond like an onion. I mean, to H.R. Geiger's designs, to the production design, all of the commentary on like how they purposely shaped all the doors and entrances like vaginas and did all this crazy, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much about this movie, dude, that's absolutely insane, but it's beautiful. And who isn't terrified of a face hugger?
Don't even start with that. That's literally like my worst nightmares. Those
face huggers.
To a point where people are like, we're gonna send you one for Christmas. I'm like, don't even bother.
Yeah.
Well,
like, they're literally like the scariest thing to me in any movie. I mean,
yeah.
To piggybacking off what you said, as a kid, I didn't care for Alien. I love Aliens. When I was a kid, I like Terminator 2 way better than I like the Terminator. As an adult, it's a total opposite. Like, I would prefer Terminator over Terminator 2 any day. I would prefer Alien over Aliens any day. It's a fantastic movie, but you needed that patience in Alien, which we talked about before with these 70s movies. Like, you need to unravel this story before the things happen. And that face hugger scene where it's just sitting there and it's in his throat and it's tightening every time, that still freaks the shit out of me, that whole thing. And that thing, everything about it just scares me more than the xenomorphs do. That's for damn sure. I mean, it's just, I can't do it. I mean, I really, it's insane to me how much that I think that thing is just, as a whole, what it's doing, what it looks like. It's freaky, man.
Oh,
it's a mix of spider, scorpion, and just the idea of something in your mouth and being force fed this creature is very scary.
Well, I feel like the longer the movie, like during the runtime, the further we get into it, it's so claustrophobic feeling.
That's the perfect word.
Yeah.
That's
the
whole air duct scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and I remember so obviously you have that scene, and that's obviously one of like I feel like one of the highlights of the movie with Dallas. And they, in a way, kind of like, I noticed that they kind of paid homage to that. If you guys recall The Invisible Man, Lee
Mhm.
Winnell's, where she goes to like splash the paint on the like her ex-husband or whatever, and it reveals him. Like, in a lot of ways, that reminded me of the scene where Dallas is in the air vents. But this whole movie is just absolutely like, you're just white knuckled the entire time you're getting through this.
Mhm.
The chest burster scene,
Oh, woof.
I will never
Yeah.
forget the first time watching that. It's that and Texas Chainsaw are the two movies that it's not just a movie, it's like an experience. It's something that I
Mhm.
will never be able to like recapture that same feeling with just how scared and terrified I was watching those movies for the first time.
Well,
Dude, the
where
go ahead, Jordan.
where would you play? What's scarier though to you guys, the chest bursting, the air ducts, or the ashes malfunction?
Well,
That's another part that's fucking
You know what I
crazy.
mean?
well, before we rank them all, I mean, I feel like we have to talk about. Clearly, I don't think you can talk about Alien without the chestburster scene. And what's so genius about Ridley Scott's direction is you have this, you have this moment when the face hugger jumps on Kane. We have no idea what's happening, right?
Mhm.
Not a single clue. And then he wakes up,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, something's weird, but I don't know what.
Mhm.
And then the movie goes into is it breakfast or dinner that they're eating in the chestburster scene? I can't remember
I don't
specifically.
remember dinner
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, the dinner scene. And the movie gives you zero. There's no like music cues. There's no the movie doesn't the camera doesn't focus on him. There is zero clues that anything is about to happen. So you're kind of like, it brought you down. You're like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen, and then you're watching, and the moment he starts convulsing, it's like, what is happening? Like, we know something. What the hell is going on? Then he's on the table, and then you have the chest appliance, and you see the blood,
Mhm.
and it happens, and it is like, it's still to this day an incredibly effective effect. How
Very
well they pull that
Well,
off.
yeah, what Ridley Scott did so well is he really made you feel a part of the crew,
Hmm.
and in the same sense, you're part of the crew as you don't even think about what's going on. You know,
Hmm.
you're part of the meal. You're sitting there with them, and then that happens.
genuine surprise, shock. I mean, I don't know. It's that scene. I just remember how sick I felt watching that for the first time. I was like, this poor fucking guy. He's just trying to eat dinner, and this all goes to shit basically.
Yeah, that scene is punishing, man. But then so is every other kill in this movie. Like
Mhm.
every scene with the alien in this movie is terrifying. Like in the ducks, but then it brings in the element with Ash's malfunction and stuff. So it brings in kind of some other, but the highlight to me is at the end, and still to this day, like every time I watch near the end of Alien, I cannot see that alien coiled up in there until he finally like uncoils
A little
and
bit of the
comes out.
shine.
Dude, it's like it's
Yeah,
brilliant. It's so good.
yeah.
That and
Even
that
in
Yeah,
4K, we
design.
can't see the thing.
Yeah.
that's how you know
How
it's
is he?
really well done.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's one of the most timeless movies ever. You can't believe it was made in '79. That's for sure.
Oh, dude, like those opening shots, man, of just
Mhm.
like there's a one shot in the helmet where you see the computer reflecting off of like the helmet,
Mm,
the
gorgeous.
glass on the helmet,
Yeah.
and it's like you just hear like the sounds of machinery booting up and moving around and clicking, and it's so good, man. And then like Ripley is just an absolutely incredible lead character that I think the
Mhm.
franchise really kind of diminishes. As once you get past two, they kind of like do her some disservices.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask. So she was kind of an unknown at the time when they brought her in, and she became honestly one of the most iconic kind of heroes of that time. what do you how do you think she compares to the other kind of standout characters of other 70s horror films?
I mean,
What makes her stand out in your opinion out of the rest?
I mean, she's a different type of survivor. You know, it's she knew the entire time through, you know, despite warning everyone on the crew that, you know, they were supposed to follow protocol, that they were supposed to not even bring the xenomorph in to begin with, and yet everyone throws caution to the wind, and then in the end she's the one who has to take it upon herself to take care of the xenomorph and launch it into space. And it's like it's a very quiet type of strength that she has in this movie, whereas I feel like once you get to Aliens, obviously she just becomes like a full-on badass, and it's a little bit different. But in this one, I don't know, it's definitely, in my opinion, I think she's like definitely one of the stronger heroines that we have during this decade.
Yeah. And she, right from the first moment with her, dude, she's like, she has such a commanding, like, strong presence. Like,
Mhm.
just the way that she, you know, that she presents herself and holds herself, like, to me, man, she's stronger and smarter than any of the guys in this movie, man. Like, if this and Aliens, like, the guys suck, dude. Like, you know, it's the women who
Man.
stand out in these
Yeah.
movies, you know. Plus, who else can make a basketball shot like that in Alien Resurrection, man? Like, come on, none of the guys did
I
that,
guess I guess she does have that going for her.
right? Yeah, it's a perfect movie, man. It's something that, like, I feel like you can't, like, if anybody was to come to me and be like, all right, what do I have to watch from 1979 that's horror that you don't have to tell me much about, just tell me to watch it and I'll trust you. I'm like, Alien. Just don't know anything about it, just turn it on, and I promise you it's going to be a hell of an experience for you.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
and you have to also commend the score from Jerry Goldsmith,
Oh,
just how effective that is from the opening sequence all the way through to the very end. Um, I don't know. I mean, that has to be up there as far. I mean, just the movie in general is probably a top 5 horror movie for me, but that score definitely elevates it, brings it up to where I would have it at.
Yeah. Would you guys consider this more a horror film taking place in space or a sci-fi movie with horror elements?
I think this is straight horror, but
Yeah.
that's me.
I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, I've heard it described as almost like a haunted house in space,
Yeah.
you know, or just kind of similar in concept, but I definitely think that this is definitely
Oh,
whereas it's horror, you know, like the horror elements, you know, completely out there.
this movie with the face huggers, horror all day.
Yeah,
Literally.
Garrett, would you fight one xenomorph or 100 facehuggers?
Oh fuck, one xenomorph, 100%, 100%.
And,
But I will give you a hot take, and this is probably, I know this is not the case. Alien masterpiece, Aliens, love it, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't like 3, 4. I will even say this though. I actually am probably one of the not many people. I actually kind of like Prometheus.
Yeah, I
Not
like
bad.
Prometheus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not bad.
But I didn't like anything else. I didn't like the Romulus. I haven't watched the show. People keep asking me about it. I didn't watch it.
Mm,
But
it's good.
I can't. I think 3 had potential, but like it was a weird era of CGI that I really can't look past. And I don't know. Like for me, it's like 1 and 2 are so good. And I just feel like they can't capture it no matter what they try to do for me. But I know a lot of people really adore this whole franchise. But if I had to rank them, I'd probably say 1, 2, Prometheus would be third, and then kind of a mashup of all the different ones. But
It's so hard.
what about Alien versus Predator?
Yeah, bro. Come on.
you know, when it came out in the
That's a fun
theater,
Be
I'm
honest,
old. That's
Garrett.
how old I am. I was in the theater watching Alien. I thought it was cool, but you know, going back now, I'm kind of like, oh, so unnecessary. Yeah.
My wife and I talk about this all the time, how I always tell her that I'm a T2 fan over Terminator, but she always talks about how, like, her argument is always like they're two different movies. You know, Terminator 2 is an action
much.
movie. The
Mhm.
first Terminator is a sci-fi horror movie, and same here. And that's, I think, not like when Romulus was coming out, I kind of marathoned all of these, and I kind of got caught up in the fact that I was like, man, James Cameron to me is like not the filmmaker Ridley Scott is, and I didn't think Aliens held a candle to it. But if you watch them almost as two totally different movies, it's like almost like Aliens more when I don't think of it as the Alien sequel, which I think was a really smart move not to call it like Alien 2, because it's easier for me to distinguish them. You know what I mean?
I definitely think, I mean, they definitely both stand on their own. I mean, I agree. I think Alien and Aliens serves as like the perfect double feature. But past that, I mean, the rest of the franchise, I think it's just so varying in quality. I will say the TV series has so far it's been fantastic, but
I'll have to check it out.
yeah, a lot of the other movies I don't think hit the same highs.
I think it's really cool you guys are comparing Terminator and Alien because kind of the way they progress the movies are very similar.
Yeah, 100% it is.
Where would you put who do you think is more of the badass type character, Ripley or Sarah Connor?
Oh, Ripley for me.
Yeah.
Personally.
I would say the same.
Yeah. Yeah, Sarah Connor is Sarah Connor's cool, and like I actually enjoyed the Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles show when that was on.
I liked that show. I actually did like that show too. Yeah.
I remember liking that, but I feel like as years go on, like when Terminator Dark Fate came out and they made a big deal, they were like, "Oh, Linda Hamilton's back as Sarah Connor." I was like, I don't really care about that. That's fine. You can, you can
That's
keep
another
that.
franchise I feel like falls in the same, like there's so many similarities between that, because after you get through part 2 and Terminator, it gets a little wonky, like,
it definitely
the
does.
the rest of the whole series. Like I want to get into them, but I feel like I have such a hard time. Like I actually feel the one that I felt like I got into the most is probably the one with probably Christian Bale, maybe.
Yeah, Salvation.
Yeah, I think out of all of them, I think that's the one that I kind of get into the most. But, we're talking about Alien vs. Predator and talk about the Terminator, which is funny, is that when Alien vs. Predator came out in the theaters, I was really mostly excited because growing up, there was a video game, Alien vs. Predator, that I used to play.
Yeah.
But then I used to also play RoboCop vs. Terminator. So I thought there was hope that like, because this came out, that like we were going to get like Peter Weller versus Arnold Schwarzenegger like coming up soon, and that just unfortunately never happened. But
oh my god,
wow! They need to bring back the versus movies.
They did the Lost versus movies.
What's funny, I actually liked. My wife and I were indifferent on Romulus. I liked Romulus, but I felt like it got closest to the vibe of Alien and Aliens for me.
I agree,
but I think Fede Alvarez moving forward with it is a good sign, because I feel like he's going to branch off more. Like Alien Romulus, I feel like it had to have those callbacks, even if it hurt it to diehard fans. It had to reference back. It's incredibly. It's not a unique enough story, I think, to really separate itself. But I think moving forward, if he really decides to do his own thing, then we're going to see, I think, a brighter future for his Alien movies. At least we'll see.
That's what I think one of the problems with me before was I felt like the story was just kind of like too like straightforward. Like it was just like point A to point B and it was over. Like I didn't feel like I did with the other movies. Like I felt like the story for me was just kind of bland. And then I also kind of felt like I was sold a bad batch of goods, in a sense that I remember something came out and it's like it's all practical effects. I'm like, okay, sweet. There's a lot of CGI in that movie, man. I feel like. Well, like, and even just seeing those face huggers running around, I'm like, this looks like a fucking video game. What is this guy talking about? Like, that was that one scene where they pulled it off the mouth, and I'm like, okay, that's practical. But like, there was a lot of scenes where I'm like, I came into this thinking I was going to get the same kind of stuff we got from like the first early movies, and I just feel like it wasn't. Like, I feel like, even the android guy, like, I mean, that was almost like a big joke after that whole thing came out of how freaking terrible that thing looked. So that's, I think I had a lot of problems with, is I was just expecting like this practical effect, like, amazing masterpiece. And I got like a quarter of that.
Well, the callbacks I thought were what hurt it the most. I just felt like, and it wasn't just like minor callbacks. I mean, these are like definitive lines pulled straight from,
Mhm.
the first couple movies where I'm just like, I don't understand why you guys felt the need to shoehorn this in, or a certain side character, coming back in some capacity to be used as like a plot device. And it's like, that's cool that you were able to fix things up once it was released on like 4K and Blu-ray. But to me, it's like it could have literally been anybody else. Why did you
Mhm.
have to? I mean, I don't know. I
I don't
just
get
that was
why they had to zoom in so close on his
Yeah.
face. That was my one of my issues.
Bro, the whole time I was watching it in theaters, I was like, these medium shots look fantastic. I'm like,
yeah.
why do we need to cut close? Like, why take this out? It looked great. Like, and I
Mhm.
honestly, like, if you had kept it at I probably wouldn't be so sour on it. But like, there's like 20-second shots of just like focused on the face and it talking, where you can really see where like the
Mhm.
de-aging technology does not work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, like, I got to do this, man. Even if he was like, I listened to a podcast after the movie came out, and they were like, even if like they pulled him out and you saw him for a brief second, and then for the rest of the scene you just heard his voice and maybe like saw shots of the body or half his
Yep.
body, they're like, that would have been more effective than the endless like, oh, look who it is. Oh, here it is again. Look who it is. Look what we did. Look what we.
Yeah.
I know.
Um,
It hits you a little over the head with the amount of appearances that you get from him.
yeah. Studio interference. Yeah. The one thing one of the other issues I had with the film was just, and then we'll bring it back to Alien, is the characters. I did not like the characters whatsoever.
Same.
I'm sorry, but the whole scene where he answers the phone with all the eggs and they're starting to open up with like, come on, dude. Like that was a bad scene, a bad choice. I it wasn't believable for me.
What about the ending?
I tell you, the ending when they have the gravity, they took away the gravity and their I guess their acid blood or whatever you want to call it is
Mhm.
floating and they have to navigate. That was cool.
But again, Garrett, to your point, that scene when she was floating and shooting the xenomorphs, they cut to these really close practical shots of like the
Mhm.
xenomorph head exploding, and then they cut wide to all CGI,
Hey, that was all practical, man.
and then they cut.
They went to space.
Well, I
Yeah.
was like, I remember saying to myself, like, what
Yeah.
was practical? Like 2 shots of like the xenomorph and the facehugger, and then just the ship. Like that's what like that the ship was. That's the thing. I went into it with all these expectations based on what was. I don't know if it was said like in an interview somewhere. I don't know where I saw it, but I remember just saying, "There's no way this thing's
Mhm.
even 50% practical effects."
Yeah.
But yeah, so it really did take me out of it. And I know a lot of people praised it when it came out, and I always go back to when it comes to new movies, I just feel like we're so used to being fed like mediocre shit that like at point in time people are just like, I'm just gonna like it because I don't have any other choice now. Then be like, no, I want better. Like we can do
Yeah.
better here. But I feel like a lot of times people I feel like are forced to just like something because it's the new thing and it's all we're getting. But
Yeah.
I feel like that across the board with a lot of different things. I just feel like we're just so dead set on like they'll never make them like they used to, that we just kind of like take what we can get sometimes. And I'm unfortunately, I'll give things praise like I just did with Sinners and Weapons. Like I thought they were great, but
Yeah.
I can't be like that with everything. I just can't.
Dude, with like those
Mhm.
major studio movies, like once you start hearing those first couple, reviews come out, I always like joke. I'm like, all right, the checks started landing. Cause then once the movie goes wide, then you start getting the real reactions. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
yeah, it's always how it is. They're like, this is the greatest thing ever. It's like when websites publish like the first reactions are out for this movie, and every single first reaction is like, this is the greatest thing since Alien. And you're like, said the guy who probably like experience matters, like said the guy who FX probably or Hulu just paid to fly out, gave you a full experience,
Right.
paid for your dinner, got you some drinks,
And showed him the trailer.
you
And
know.
like, what are you gonna do? Sit on it, and then like they don't call you back. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Yeah.
it's hard, right? I hear you. I know people that have told me that things like that happen. It's like, how can you come up and shit on something? And then there's been people that I know that have shit on stuff and never get another review copy or never get other something else again. Like, I mean, and things
Mhm.
like that happen.
Yeah.
So that's what's tough too. You get flown out, go to this nice event, get wined and dined, and then all of a sudden you're like, I better say something good or I'll never be able to come back.
Yeah, right.
There
And
was
that's
a
unfortunate though, because that's not a
Mhm.
real review. Like, I mean, they should be
No.
allowed to have opinions, like, and people make their choice on if they want to go see it or not. I get it from one end of the spectrum, but it's hard for me to. I can't. I can't consciously say something is good when it's not. I just got sent something, a sponsorship for a video that's coming out, and they emailed me and they said, "Hey, we want to send you this, blah blah blah. Do you want to promote it?" Blah. So I said, "Sure, that's cool. Like, that's actually something I'd use. Sure, send it." And after I got done, like, kind of using it and stuff, I emailed them back and I said, "Listen, like, I appreciate you sending me this, but I can't, in good conscience, hype the shit out of this product because there's issues with it."
Yeah.
And I just can't do that. I would feel too guilty. And then no one's going to take my opinion on anything. Again, if I'm, you know, jamming something down their throat that's really great and they get it and it's not, like I said. So I'll do a video and showcase that I have it and you guys sent it and it worked. But I said, as far as me like praising the hell, I just can't. So I said, you have a choice. It's either I just do it, don't do anything, or I do it and just barely talk about it. So they said, "Oh, just do
respect
something."
that.
So I mean, I just couldn't,
That's cool, though.
in good conscience, like do something like that. I think that's what's tough about, doing reviews and all this stuff. When people send you stuff, it's hard because you need to be honest. So it's usually like an upfront thing. I'll tell people if they want to send me movies or whatever, I'll be like, I'll do it, but I can only give my honest opinion. So it's either if I hate it, don't do it, or you'll be okay with me just telling you what I think.
Yeah.
And right now, everybody's kind of been cool about it, most of the time. So I mean, it is what it is.
Well, I can't wait to see your Squatty Potty sponsored segment.
Squatty
It
potty.
didn't work, damn it.
It's gonna be the what is it, the potty putter?
Right.
I can tell you what it is. It's going to be they sent me a 120-inch outdoor projector screen.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cool.
So it's
okay.
cool. Yeah, I mean, of course, like someone says, like, "Do you want to send it to me?" I'm like, "Sure." So we did like movie night at my house the other night
Yeah.
and set it up. And to be honest, it worked great. Except my biggest complaint was they gave you stakes and all this stuff, but any kind of breeze, that thing was on the ground, and I had to end up like putting it up against my shed to get it to stand. Like, and it was one of those things. Like, I can't tell people how great this is. I mean, it literally was a gust of wind and the thing's flat on the floor. Like, there's just not enough support at all, and the stakes they gave you and the way you had to like stake it in, like it just wasn't functioning. They should have had like a different setup for the.
Here's the
feed.
question: was it 4K? Did it play 4K?
I'll have to look at the box. I don't know. I just had it off of just a regular projector. I
Okay.
watched like something off of Netflix or whatever.
I was thinking you're going to get all those comments that are like, "Oh, what's the point of watching if it's not in 4K?"
Oh,
When you,
of course
when
I'm
you
gonna
said
get
they
that.
sent you steaks, I'm going to be honest with you, because you talked about being flown out, whining. I'm like, oh, dude, they sent you some cuts of steaks. Like, come on. hold
I would have
on.
rather
Yeah.
had cuts of steaks, to be
Yeah,
honest with you. But I
give me
mean,
a couple ribeyes.
it did work. It worked and it looked
Yeah.
great, and we had a great time. But I had to put it up against the shed. What if someone doesn't have that? Like in this thing, they're trying to have a movie night and the thing's blowing all over the yard. Like, I mean, that's the tough part. But other than that, it worked great, and I'll probably use it more times because I do have something to put it against, so it's not going to blow back and forth. So,
But
you will see a video of me talking about it, but it's like that's about as much as I'm going to say.
maybe the feedback, I mean, that could helpfully, help them improve on it. I
Sure.
mean, you never know.
Yeah.
Like the easy answer is like, those steaks that are kind of like squares. Like if I would have had 4 of those and I could like just put them right on the feet, it probably would have held it still. But the steaks they gave us was like you take a string and like tie it to the top and then stake it to the ground, and the wind still took it. So I think there is an easy answer. It's just that you need to get the right stakes to do it.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
anyway.
Well,
That's sick.
after steaks and the unfortunate disappointment of not real steaks, Alien, we're going to move on. I want to say what's up to Eli. What's up, dude?
What up, Eli?
What's
What up, Eli?
And then, here, let's see. Just stopping by to
What
smash the
up,
like
killing
button, say
time?
what's up. Got to go to bed, catch our replay. Awesome.
Bad
Thank you.
brains.
Thanks for
Appreciate
stopping
you,
by.
man.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on. This next one, I was a little disappointed in some information that Chris shared with me. I told you I was going to say something. No, it's fine. I won't roast you on this.
Yeah, you can. That's all right.
No. I'm not going to do that. It's not what this is about. Anyways, this came out in July, so the very next month after Alien, and we have got one of my favorite, and I love haunted house films, is the Amityville Horror.
Wait a minute, Chris. You're not going to say you're a 2 guy. Is that what you're going to tell me right now?
Yeah, I'm a 2 guy.
Oh, damn it! I mean,
Yeah.
I love 2, but I think the OG is the best.
Well, I'll let Jordan give his pitch, and then
Oh,
we
boy.
can talk about mine.
Wait a second.
No, man, I'm telling you. So you obviously have James Brolin, which I think his performance in this, his and Margot Kidder's, their performance together, I think is great. I love the film, the score. Again, scores are a big part of why I like certain movies. The score in this is really, really great. I'm not gonna replicate it, but if you guys know the score, it's very, very good. And honestly, and I think this still holds up today for me. It's pretty scary. I think the pre-scene, that whole scene with the flies, one, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
All those flies, but the get out. I mean, can you imagine you're just hanging out in a house, you get swarmed with flies, and then you hear the get out. Very,
So
very scary.
creepy.
And I think James Brolin's performance of that slowly losing his mind throughout the film does really, really good. And the opening too, I think, is great. The outside shot of the house, and the way they did how the murders happen with the lights and the windows going off. I think that was such an awesome creative choice. Guys, this for me is one of my favorite haunted house films. I love haunted house movies, and this definitely is up there in my opinion. That's why I definitely wanted to put this in this list and talk about it. So
It's a great movie.
yeah.
I told you before we went live.
Okay,
I
good.
wholeheartedly agree with this being like essential viewing. The get out scene is the highlight of the movie for me, and I think like your horror knowledge is kind of incomplete without this movie. This movie, I think, forever changed the tone of haunted house, movies forever. I just rewatched it with my wife, who loves this movie. I just really struggle with it, man. Like after the get out scene, I think James Brolin's performance is good. I actually prefer Margot Kidder's performance.
Hers
I think
is good,
she's fantastic. I do agree that the score is good. You have to definitely get used to the pacing, because honestly, not much happens in the whole entire movie. Not isn't much that really happens
Hey,
at
it's
all.
all about atmosphere, man.
Yeah.
And also, the whole movie is about a ghost that steals money. So
Where's the
That's
money?
yeah,
Happened once, yeah.
In here somewhere.
Chris goes, now let's put in the better version. Let's go put in Ryan Reynolds.
which,
Amityville.
Oh,
the
no.
better version
Oh, boy.
is the incestuous Amityville Horror 2.
Oh, that's something.
Which,
That's a take.
I mean, you got Diane Franklin in there. I mean, it's all good. I mean, I love part 2,
Same.
but I've always loved part 1 better. And I think it kind of falls in the same kind of category we were talking before when you guys brought up like slow burn 70s horror. Like when I as soon as you said that, I thought in my head, okay, we still get Alien to talk about, we still have Amityville to talk about, and it's exactly that. Like I can see the problem with this one with most people is that there's not a lot going on. It's not a lot of action. And kind of like we said with Alien and Terminator and stuff, like you compare 1 and 2 of Amityville, and it's like 2 different tones completely.
Yeah.
You got like a bonkers, more off the wall tone on part 2, and then this first one is really like that slow burn. But another scene that really freaked me out when I saw this for the first time was when they looked out the window and just saw the 2 fucking red eyes.
Oh, yeah.
That
Yep.
freaked the shit out of me, and it was such an easy, stupid effect. It's like just these 2 red lights. As a young kid or a teenager, when I saw this for the first time, I was like, "What the hell was that?" And you kind of really don't even really find out much about that afterwards. And I just thought it was super effective. And is that the 4K? The 4K looks fantastic. By the way.
Yeah, this is the 88 Films one.
Okay,
yeah.
I have the Vinegar Syndrome one. I'm assuming it's probably the same.
It is. I'm pretty sure it is. I think they got this from Vinegar Syndrome, if I'm not mistaken.
But yeah, man, I've seen this movie so many times, but it's like the best I think it's ever looked. I mean, I was glad to see it on the list because I do think that this is one of those movies that when I get into horror, it was like on a pedestal, and then the years went by and it started to kind of fall off of that like top tier horror movie. I'm just saying it as a whole. Like, people don't mention it as such a huge movie in the genre as much as I think they used to back in, like, the 90s and before that.
Mhm.
It's
I mean,
funny.
oh, go ahead, Chris.
No, I was just gonna say it's funny how my favorite scene of this whole movie has become James Brolin and the caterer in the bathroom. That's my favorite scene of the whole movie.
Uh, it's funny you talked about the red eyes. I immediately thought of House by the Cemetery in the basement.
Yeah.
Very, very reminiscent of that. Steve, what do you think of this movie?
I mean, this is definitely one that I don't think gets brought up enough, and I like that. Obviously, there's definitely some influence that's taken from real life events for for the sake of this movie, but I like that aspect of it just because I think it makes it like kind of enhances it a little bit more, makes it a little bit scarier. Um, I mean, would you guys consider this probably like one of I don't know, like the scarier ghost movies, like possession movies, when we're thinking about older horror films?
I do, but I think at the same time, everybody's different. I think, for me, sometimes less is more, and I know for other people, that's not always the case. With
Hmm.
other people, when it comes to like scares and what makes them kind of feel on edge. For me, it's a very much less is more
Yeah.
situation and then that's why I think this works for me. But again, I know a lot of people don't feel the exact same way. Maybe it just shows my age. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely dig this movie. It's one that especially around like Halloween, I like going back and revisiting. It definitely feels like it captures that aesthetic. But yeah, I definitely dig this one.
Yeah.
I
Go
when
ahead,
I
Chris. And I'm going to move on to another topic.
Yeah. Just one thing I did appreciate this time is this movie was actually shot in Tom's River, New Jersey, which is about like an hour and a half, kind of like northeast for me. We go to Tom's River all the time, so we can go and see. The house had the house doesn't look like this because they built onto the house to make it look like the actual home that's in New York. But it very much reminded me, especially now going into the fall season, this felt distinctly like New Jersey. So I did almost get like a kind of comfort in that, which I appreciated this time around.
I rank Phantasm higher than the Amityville horror franchise.
Yeah,
Sure.
Phantasm 5 is better than this one.
Damn, man.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Steve, you mentioned the whole how it's kind of loosely based on a true story. Do you think that is? How do you think the film would have been received, and would it be as like high ranking and lasted as long as it has if it wasn't based off of a real events?
I mean,
Because
I'm
like
sure.
that, I mean, that was a big marketing for this film.
Yeah, I think that if you strip it away from that, I mean, I still think it's an effective horror movie, but the added element of kind of having that off to the side, I think just again it enhances the movie a little bit more. I still think regardless, like it's a quality movie, but I don't know. I'm always a sucker for those those type of setups.
Yeah. And I will say this is one of the more realistic, like based on a true story movies. Like
Yes.
there's nothing that occurs that's like you see these movies that are like, oh, based on a true story, and it's like the most fantastic thing you've ever seen in your life happening on
Yeah.
screen. This does keep it pretty
Yeah.
grounded, to where like it kind of feels convincing all the way through. There's nothing that would be like, if Love Lies Bleeding was like, oh, based on a true story. And then all of a sudden at the end, when she grows 50 foot tall, you're like, oh,
I,
that's gone.
I
You
thought
know?
it was, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel duped.
So I do admire that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the one thing that I really appreciate about this one specifically, and to a certain extent with the second one, is you obviously see James Brolin's, performance in this, and you're seeing, the transformation that mirrors like fears of a family collapse and violence in the home. I mean, it's like the loss of control of yourself. I think that the idea of that is fucking terrifying, let alone, the paranormal side of things. So, um, yeah, I don't know. Overall, it's solid movie in my book.
Yeah. Um, is this a and I kind of asked a similar question with Alien. Is this considered a haunted in your book, a haunted house movie or a family drama with some supernatural stuff in it?
I usually would say haunted house personally.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is like the seventh heaven of 70s horror.
My gosh. Hey, it doesn't go that crazy. Seventh Heaven went wild.
I said, Chris,
Yeah, when Jessica Biel got hit by the car, that whole show changed, man.
No, I'm
Or when,
talking about when they're like, "Hey, can you show me?" I don't even want to go there.
Yeah.
We're not even gonna go down that trail.
No, I know I joke a lot about this movie. I definitely think people should see it. It's definitely a mandatory viewing, and that Get Out scene is like genuinely terrifying, man. Like that voice. But I will say this is better than the 2005 remake. I will say.
Mhm.
You said it's better.
Yeah,
There's
for
something-
sure. Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that this is like the 2005 remake is better by any, but it's not bad for a remake. I went back and watched it again, and let's say I didn't leave disappointed, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, it wasn't one of those terrible remakes. It actually was
Mhm.
okay. I saw it in the theater. I thought it was fine. You know, they actually
it's middle of the road.
pretty good with the remakes around that time. It got a little wonky at points, but I mean, like not this movie, but the remake scene. But I mean, I thought this was one of the better ones that we got around that time.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like going back was difficult because like now Ryan Reynolds is the funny guy. He's the Deadpool guy. So seeing him in that performance is like a little more almost like hammy to me as opposed to like seeing it in 2005 when he was still, but yeah, I do think it is better than the remake, but the remake's not terrible.
Yeah, they do expand on it a little bit too, because doesn't they like go into that underground like mausoleum kind of looking area? I remember that whole
remake?
thing.
The Red Room, man.
But yeah, so how do you think this ranks in like scary, like the scares compared to like at the time we had The Exorcist, Burnt Offerings?
I mean, Exorcist definitely. I feel like that's like above and beyond. I think that would.
That's a tier in its own.
Yeah, it kind of is. Like I think just not only for the movie itself, but the cultural impact that it had. Compared to this, I think that this one definitely gets a little bit overshadowed. I would say, by The Exorcist.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think this one had enough, like you said, there was scenes that to me, the red eyes, the flies, like there was enough in this movie that I think carried over into, people didn't forget about those scenes. Like, I mean, they've used the fly scene and like even like what Scary Movie 2 like spoofed it and stuff. So it's a very well known scene in
Yeah.
horror. And I think, back then it was like they were just trying to the 70s was so unique. I feel like there was just so many different things and it created, I think, really helped create the genre. And this was one of those movies that I think really helped do that as well. Along with like what you said about that, Rosemary's Baby, Exorcist, all those other movies around,
Mhm.
in the 70s that
Yeah.
really kind of set the tone for what we were to get, later down the road.
Yeah, Rosemary's Baby is another one. You want to talk about slow burns? There's a few scenes, but that ending is pretty crazy.
Did you
Sure.
guys get into this movie when you were initially getting into horror films, or was it like further out into your movie watching experience?
This was early for me. This was one
Okay.
of those ones where like my uncle gave me a list of must watches, and this was on there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Same.
this was like always referenced. I remember in my house is kind of like my mom was into horror movies and she was like the gateway for me. And this was one that my mom would always reference, always bring up. So we saw it really young. It didn't have the same effect on me as like The Exorcist or The Omen.
No.
But it was always there. And again though, real quick, director Stuart Rosenberg, this is the director of Cool Hand Luke. You know what I mean? It's kind of a shocking thing to see. So again, late 70s, this is that prestige, like to have a Brolin, to have Margot Kidder, to have a director like Stuart Rosenberg. Like this movie today would be kind of like a high gloss production. You know what I mean? There is a certain
agree.
sense of prestige here. I mean, to even look at clearly looking at James Brolin now in the eyes of his career and his son, being Josh Brolin is different, but it's kind of surprising when you go back and really research the movie how much actually went behind this and how much money was involved and who was involved. So it had a little bit of that high class value to it.
I want to ask a question. Then Eli brought up a pretty fun question, I think. So how do you think this movie influenced films we get today, like The Conjuring? Right, I would say is obviously influenced somewhat by this, being kind of the same Ed and Lorraine Warren cases.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Poltergeist maybe a little bit. I would even say Paranormal Activity has some touches. I mean, how do you think it influenced those?
Oh, Conjuring for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think The Conjuring is a scarier movie than Amityville Horror. Maybe that's a hot take, but
it's a different kind of scary for sure. Yeah,
like people don't talk about how fucking scary the first Conjuring is. Like that movie is terrifying. Like it's one of the few movies that if you put on in a dark room for me, like even if I know what's coming, it still freaks the hell out of me, man.
That scene when she's up standing above the wardrobe to this day, and the simple thing of the hide and clap, I think is such an effective scare.
Yeah.
I have a crazy story about The Conjuring because that house is literally like 20 minutes from where I live, the OG house. So like when that movie came out, it was like, everybody was bonkers in my state because it was like, oh my God, it's the Conjuring house. It's here. This is the movie's about here. And, that first night, like there was literally, we were there opening night and there was lines like around the building for
cool.
Conjuring. And it was such a party movie in a sense that everybody was going nuts because it was like, it represented like Rhode Island basically, because that's where all this kind of took place. And it was crazy. And it's, I've actually surprisingly never even been there.
I was just going to ask. Okay.
No, I have never been there. And I'm like, what the hell's wrong with me? It's literally like, I could drive there like tomorrow morning. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why it never intrigued me to like go over there. And I do think that they do at this point, like maybe like, or they used to, you could like stay overnight at the house.
That's might be
like
pushing.
I don't know.
Which is crazy.
I'll keep my distance, but there's a
so now like Matt Rife bought like a bunch of the stuff, and he moved here because he wants to try to buy that house.
I'm so
and
good.
he bought like the other Warren estate in Connecticut and like the museum, and he's trying to buy that house now. So he moved literally like down the street from the house because he wants that house.
That dude is going to end up like the other guy who was touring.
I swear.
Annabelle, you watch.
But yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, so Conjuring is a huge thing around here. Like that's like kind of all we got.
Does the house still get that level of attention that it used to?
Yeah, I think it gets more now because of the movies.
Nice.
It was just a story, back then, but now, that there's actually a movie about it. Like there's actually people that travel to go check it out.
Damn.
And I don't even know like what the story is with it. Like you can watch videos online and they show you inside it. I don't know if someone just owns it and just has it as property and then does like some, tours and stuff. I don't think anybody lives in it permanently. So yeah, it's interesting though.
Switch it into a haunted attraction and go in there.
For real.
Amityville Horror is really interesting too because the true story part of it has been debunked so many times. Like I actually think the debunking of the Amityville story is more infamous than the original story is. Like how many times people have kind of disproven everything. But that's kind of the same thing with like Ed and Lorraine Warren is like that's been kind of slowly being torn apart too. Like people are kind of dissecting that and realizing like Ed Warren is actually really good at making money. They're like,
yeah. I'm sure there's definitely, I think in everything there's a speck of truth in there. But then you're gonna, I think like you said, Ed Warren he's a good salesman, man. Well, he can tell the story. So
before we move on, fun fact: a relative of my wife, a direct relative who is still alive, actually taught the kids that were murdered at the Amityville house.
Wow!
Really?
Whoa!
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Very wild,
huh?
Very strange, right?
Well, how do you follow
That's why
that?
you hate it then.
Okay, yeah, I waited till the end to tell
Yeah.
you guys.
Garrett, are you picking up the 4K for The Conjuring?
I haven't yet, but I probably will.
I was gonna say, does that
Again,
make
it's
you
like
less of a Island in than
probably that does make me less of a Rhode Islander, but I'm so like, we all are, as collectors, have our own personal issues. I'm sure that you kind of think, oh, I'm stupid for thinking this way. Why did I do this? Like FOMO to me doesn't exist that much anymore with
Mhm.
certain things, but like aesthetics what my collection does, and it's really actually kind of fucking annoying that like I let like something like that like dictate like what I get and what I don't get. So, in my head I'm like, yeah, I'll get the Conjuring, but like, well, then I don't. So then I have like a Blu-ray of 2 and 3, and the next one's like a 4. That doesn't make sense. So I might as well just keep them all together and
Mhm.
have them look the same. Like that's my aesthetic. My brain is like, if
Yeah.
I can't have them all, then I'm gonna just keep it the way it
Hey,
is.
it
And
keeps
like
you
I'm,
in
I'm
mind
going through
stuff
that
for
right
sure.
now with the damn Saw stuff. I'm like, I don't need to spend $35 on steelbooks for Saw, but there's no way in hell I'm buying a Saw box set because they never end. So like in my head, I've never bought a Saw box set because they keep releasing them, and then there's like another Saw, another Saw. And what drives me absolutely insane is if I have a box set, but then like 2 next to it, like on their own, like.
Mhm.
So in
Yeah,
my head, I'm like, I'll never buy a box set because I never believe Saw is going to end. So like for me, I have like one on Steelbook, 4K. I have Spiral, I have Jigsaw or something else, and then I'm like Saw 10. So I'm like, well, that almost makes it like I kind of have to get these steel books because then they all will line up on the shelf. And then if there's a next one, I'll just get a new steel book and I'll just line them up that way. Like those are the weird things as a collector right now that are like
Yeah.
bothering me. Not how much
Yeah.
freaking deadly spawn costs. That's like least of my worries, really.
Yeah.
I will. To anybody who wants to pick up The Conjuring on 4K, I will remind everybody of the year that Warner Brothers released The Exorcist and The Lost Boys on 4K. Everybody paid like $40 for it, and then 2 months later at Black Friday, it was $10. So patience in this case, because it's Warner Brothers, will probably pay off most people very, very well.
There you go. This is the one I thought was interesting. Eli put, do you guys consider Leatherface and this works perfectly for the time we're in. Consider Leatherface a traditional slasher or a Hills Have Eyes kind of killer. I don't consider him a slasher. It's more like people trespassing and he's just protecting his land.
That's what I always took it as. Was he actually to me, the original Texas Chainsaw, he just felt like a guy that was minding his own business, and all these people like running through his house, and he's freaking out, and he's just like, what the hell's going on here? I've got to kill these people, or I got to get them out of my house, or whatever. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think like he seemed like afraid, in the first one, he
Yeah.
was just kind of protecting his house. Like, I didn't see him as just a guy that's just running around trying to kill everybody, like we saw maybe in like the remake or whatever in 2003. I feel like that was a different Leatherface than we got in the OG. But obviously, with that look and stuff, they turned it into like he's just a slasher like Jason and all that other stuff. But
I see him as a kid. He's like a kid in like this big hulking body. Scared
Yeah.
kid.
I don't think, Steve, in our Beyond the Blood episode, I don't think we ever referenced even anywhere near this as a slasher, as TCM as a slasher. I don't think that original one you can put into that genre.
No, I think it might have like some like proto slasher elements, I think in certain aspects, but I don't consider this like like through and through a traditional slasher. I would have to go off of what you guys were saying earlier, is that Leatherface has always struck me as like it's kind of the protector of the home, right?
Mhm.
So, as soon as people are trespassing there, I think I mentioned this before, he's like a junkyard dog. Like
Yeah.
they use him essentially as like an extension of the family, and he basically is just lined up to go kill whoever's coming on the property.
Yep. All right, guys. No, Garrett, did you have something to say?
nope.
Okay. It looked like it did. Anyways,
No.
moving on. Let's go ahead and move to the next one. Steven, I know you're excited for this.
Dude, I can hardly wait. Okay.
Your time has come. There you go. You don't have to wait anymore.
I've been waiting this whole live stream for this one. So we got to talk about none other than Zombie,
Boom.
Lucio Fulci's classic. This is one that I remember seeing back in high school, and right around the time that I was like first getting into like the Romero like Dead trilogy and just really starting to branch out more into horror. I had a friend of mine who recommended this movie and actually gave me a DVD copy of it and was like, "Hey, check this out. You'll really dig it." Now, I will I will admit this was my first foray into Italian horror at the time, so it was a little jarring with kind of like how it's dubbed weird in certain spots, but over time definitely got used to that, and I will just never forget that experience because it was just unlike anything that I had seen before. Um, this is not Dawn of the Dead. This is something that's just more sinister, more violent. I feel like it's definitely more gory compared to Dawn of the Dead. And what other movies do you get an opportunity to see like the eye splinter scene or the shark versus zombie scene that takes place? I mean, you open up in that movie in New York Harbor, and I'm like, what is going on? And just nobody's safe. And you're just trying to piece together what exactly is happening. It literally just throws you into the action, and there's just no looking back. Um, this is one that I think we had talked about before in a live stream that as much as I have such a high appreciation for Dawn of the Dead, this is the one that I always end up coming back to more often than not. And I consider this one, in my opinion, I would consider this higher than Dawn of the Dead.
It's such an interesting. I remember the first time I saw Zombie. I remember seeing all kinds of zombie movies before, but seeing this and thinking how much of a difference it made, the fact that all of the undeadness had like bugs
Mm-hmm.
on them, like how much more of an impact that made versus like the color shaded, zombies we were kind of used to at the time. Yeah, this movie's pretty, and I think it's a good gateway, like foreign, like a kind of Italian horror film. Like yeah, the dubbing's bad, and some people have struggled to get through that, but it's not a movie you're necessarily watching for plot value and stuff like that. I mean, the movie they even shot the opening in New York to try to attract U.S. audiences,
Mm-hmm.
at this time. But like when I was a kid, I talk about this all the time. And Gary, you might remember Arrow in the Head used to have something called the Kill of the Day.
Mm-hmm.
And every day I would go on and watch these little like terrible oh my god, what was the video format back then? It was
So
like
like went W was it WI what
quick
was it called?
something.
Oh, quick time or something.
Yeah, yeah. You see, it was like these heavily pixelated every day they'd upload a different clip. Like it was like the burning raft scene. That was the first time I had seen that. And through this was the first time I had seen the eye splinter scene. And I was like, "Oh, what the fuck is this?"
Yep.
I'm like, man, because it just keeps going, dude. And like even like she gets stabbed in the eye, and then it goes as far as like to break the wood splinter
It's
off.
so
Of,
cruel.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well,
nasty,
it doesn't
man.
ever pan away. You see it the entire time, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
And the
Yeah.
Fabio Frizzi score to this is just like perfection. I love just the atmosphere that this film has, especially once they get to the island, and everything about this all the way up until the ending. The ending is as bleak as it can be. It's just I don't know. There's just so much I love about this movie, and I have to go off of what Chris was saying is that it's a perfect gateway. If you're trying to get into Italian horror, you like zombie films, this is definitely the place to get started.
For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this I have a weird story with this one. This is one I saw when I was starting to really get into horror. Obviously, I saw Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead early. Those were ones that my uncle really showed me. So I fell in love with both of them. And I can remember him saying, "Yeah, you got to check out Zombie." And I was like, "All right." So I ended up getting like an Anchor Bay DVD, and it had like his face in the front, like that main image. And I watched it, and I loved it. It was my first introduction to Fulci as well. And I can't do the eyes thing, so that really fucks me up that he does stuff with the eyes all the time. It's like one of those
Ugh.
ones it's hard to even
Mhm.
watch. And you get the shark and the zombie scene, and you're like, "Oh my god, like this is so crazy! Like what is going on?" And then I remember like just loving it. And then I ended up finding I just randomly had it over here was this damn zombie box set,
Oh,
and this put out
hell
and it
yeah.
had Zombie 3, Zombie 4, Zombie 5 in here. I was like, oh, cool. Like I get the other zombies, like, which they have nothing to do with this movie. And then like Shriek Show came out with like Zombie 2. So I was like, oh shit, I can complete the collection. I get the sequel. And I ended up buying it. And I put it in. I'm like, what the fuck? It's the same movie. Like it was so mind blowing to me. I'm like, I'm so confused. I got Zombie 2. They're the same movie. Then I got these 3 that have nothing to do with this one. It was like, I had to go to my uncle and be like, what the hell is going on here? He's like, well, Zombie 2 is zombie, but it's like technically like the Italian sequel to Dawn of the Dead, which was considered zombie over there. I'm like, dude, this is a freaking nightmare mess. Like right now, like I don't even know what the hell is going on here. And for the longest time, I just remember being so like I couldn't figure this out, like this whole timeline of this movie. But all in all, I loved it, still do. But it was just one of those stories where it's like forever. I couldn't figure out this whole. I'm like, well, where's 2 then? He's like, well, that is 2. I'm like, well, then what's 1? He's like, oh, Dawn. I'm like, what the hell is happening?
Well, yeah, isn't like Zombie 6 is actually Anthropophagus.
Yeah, it's it's insane to think about that.
I think too, Zombie's cool because this movie's kind of a perfect blend of at the time, the modern day zombie movie, like the Dawn of the Dead style, but it also does kind of have a tinge of like the original zombie like films where it's a little bit more like, it's on an island. It's very tropical. It's got like kind of that little bit of like a voodoo thing to it. So it's a good balance between like what was at that time modern zombie films, like what Argento and Romero were putting out with Dawn of the Dead. But it also still felt kind of like old school, like I Walked with a Zombie or some of those more classic stories.
I love the more earthy look that the zombies have in this. There's something about it that just, I think it really enhances like how the design looks, and it definitely holds up all these years later, which is just crazy to me. So
Yeah.
I have a deep love for this movie.
Would you think that this zombie kicked off the Italian zombie boom, I guess, from the 80s?
I would think so. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that would have.
I mean, I think Dawn of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead kind of helped because you had the Argento cut, which was called Zombie. That helped a lot, I think. But then like Fulci's Zombie brought it to another level. You know what I mean? I think I've actually said this before on one of your streams, Jordan, that my favorite scene in Zombie is near the end when when our main character throws 15 Molotov cocktails and it just repeats the same shot of him throwing and the same shot of it exploding over and over again.
Come on, Chris, you don't think it's effective?
It's like, never more fire. I was watching, I'm like, is this, wow, damn.
There's something wrong with my disc here? What's going on?
It's like when you play video games, and you know how like you'll throw the Molotov and then it fades out and the fire is no longer there. You throw another one. It's kind of like that.
Nothing changes. That's funny. What do you guys think is scarier, the splinter scene or the way it ends, the kind of bleak ending as we were talking about?
Oh, the bleak ending for sure. I mean, it's very ominous. There's no real closure. I mean, you see them marching towards New York, so you can only imagine what the outcome is. I like that it doesn't get wrapped up. I mean, you can ultimately leave it up to your imagination, essentially, like how like the outcome is going to turn out. But I just love how, I don't know, it's just a very, very dark ending.
That's got to be one of my, and I've said this before, one of my favorite horror movie endings is the way that film ends.
And to anybody who hasn't seen Zombie, I think the best piece of advice I can give you is that when the credits roll at the end of the movie, you should immediately follow it up with Zombie 5 Killing Birds. And then, perfect. No. There we go.
So I've never seen this.
So, you're in for a treat.
How could you not want to look at
it? So literally Killing
Jordan.
Okay,
Jordan, I wish I could say they get better with the sequels, but I think I would be. I can't do that to you as a friend.
Well, that's what I love about Italian movies is they piggyback off the success of very popular films. Just we'll call it this.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like Demons. There's like 5 Demons movies, and none of them are. Well, you have Demons 1 and 2, which are related, but then you have The Church, and then Demons 5 was something that they said
Ogre or something, wasn't it?
Ogre, yeah.
It's like that was just a mess. It was just throwing titles on whatever. Like
Isn't that
it
in the
didn't
new
even matter.
Cauldron set?
What, Jordan?
Oh no, I was asking if it was in the new Cauldron set, but I think that's a different ogre.
Dude, I want that Cauldron set. That's got that what is it called? Graveyard Disturbance. Or whatever. That's a great movie, man. And I've been trying to get that for a long time. It would only had like a weird old DVD, but I was hoping that thing had its own separate release. But I'm gonna have to probably get that set. Did anybody watch anything else in it yet?
Oh, nobody tell Garrett what I told you guys in the group chat.
Oh, that's
Oh,
what I was.
no, he
That's
didn't
what I was
like it?
smiling about.
Yeah.
I was like, I messaged the group chat like I just finished Graveyard Disturbance, and I messaged the group chat, and I was like, y'all, this movie's trash. I was like, this is Limberto Bob's worst movie.
No way!
I'm getting
I've been
conflicting
wanting that movie
opinions.
for like years. It's like I couldn't get it.
Man,
No,
Like
I
an
can-
old DVD.
I can get it. Like that movie, the movie's got a cool feel. Just literally nothing happens for an
What's
hour
better?
and
You
a
don't like
half.
them just running around the woods for 2 hours?
No, yeah, but they go on. Well, it takes first of all, it takes them an hour and 15 minutes to get into the plot of the movie.
There's like
And then once
caves
they're
and shit.
then once they're in the plot of the movie, there's another half hour of them just
Oh
meandering.
my god!
that's
See, that was the
funny.
only reason I was buying that set. To be honest with you,
Oh
that's
man,
the only movie I knew in there that I was
Don't
like,
worry,
"This
dude.
movie's rocks."
Well, I will tell you. I mean, if you're not interested in the other movies, individuals will be coming out just like they did with Houses of Doom. So
All right, so I'll just probably
Yeah.
wait. Then.
once the box set.
What else is? I don't even. To be honest, when I saw that box set, that's the only thing that caught my eye. I don't even know what's on there.
There's 4 movies. So you have Graveyard Disturbance, you have The Ogre. You have it right there, right, Jordan?
Yeah, Until Death and Dinner with a Vampire.
I definitely have Ogre. I know that much, but I don't think I have the other ones.
I'm excited to dive into it.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get through the High Tension box set right now, so that's been taking me a little bit.
Jeez, between Amityville and Graveyard Disturbance, Chris.
I'm sorry.
Jesus.
I'm a bigger fan of Graveyard Disturbance 2. It's the movie. It's the movie that plays in Demons, on the screen.
Oh man. All right, let's go back to Zombie now. What do you think is more effective, the atmosphere or the gore?
Told you anything going in my face, I can't do it. Eyes, space huggers, I just can't. It just doesn't.
So you don't
Freaks
like
me
the
out.
spiders in
Freaks me out, man.
in the Beyond.
No, I don't. Definitely not.
The vibe. I mean, like I always reference that like one of my favorite like 80s zombie movies is Dr. Butcher MD, aka Zombie Holocaust, which is pretty much like exactly like Zombie. It's a zombie movie that takes place on an island. But like much like Zombie, the gore is incredibly effective and it sticks with you, and that's like Fulci's staple. It's like if you're gonna take anything from his movies, it's gonna be just how fucking nasty they are. So that's what stuck with me always.
I think for this one, yeah, I'd probably have to go gore for this one. But then once you get to the Gates of Hell trilogy, I feel like the atmosphere definitely is in the driver's seat for those 3 films. So
Yeah, I cannot wait to talk about those.
we're getting there.
Yeah. Let's see. Any other thoughts about Zombie? I'm looking at you, Steven.
I mean, honestly, I have nothing but positive things to say about it. I mean, seeing Fabio Frizzi live and seeing him do the score for this was an experience. So I think it definitely gave me a new appreciation for this movie for sure.
Full of that and drugged up sharks to fight.
Yep.
Sorry for the animal lovers, but it's what happened. It was a different time.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, even with the shark being drugged up, I don't know how many of us would be down to
There'd be no way.
full makeup, going underwater, fighting a drugged out shark.
Squaring up with a shark.
I'm good.
I think I remember watching House of the Dead from the early 2000s. You guys remember?
God,
and that movie references Zombie because a zombie gets attacked by a shark. like really quickly in that movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, look at them referencing zombie in this super shitty House of the Dead movie. Yeah.
Oh God.
Bro, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, when we do like the Anchor Bay podcast and we have people on, they always mention stuff, and for some reason I just have it like right here. I don't know why. I'm literally like surrounded by like hundreds of stuff right now.
I think I have that, and I have House of the Dead 2 on DVD too, I think.
Oh, I forgot there was a sequel. You know what else there
Yeah.
was? I'm actually
Yeah,
just
House of Dead 2 isn't terrible.
Oh, you know what it is? I don't even know if I have it over here. Well, if
Can
you
I
guys
just-
don't know, I was gonna do a short on this. Did you realize that House of the Dead was so bad that they put out a comedy version of it? Did you know
There
that?
you go.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
So look at this one.
Yeah, that was they added like sound effects and shit
It's
over
like
it, right?
it's the funny version because the movie was so freaking terrible. They like turned it into a comedy.
What?
Well, I think
And
they shot so Clark Collis's book that just came out, Screaming and Conjuring, he talks about House of the Dead pretty extensively, and he talks about how they shot every scene serious and then they shot every scene silly. And then that's what they made the silly cut out of.
That's
and
so funny.
the producer arrived on the set and was like, "What the fuck is happening? Why are we shooting everything twice?"
Wild.
House of the Dead arcade game. I remember that game.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think we could put a pin in Zombie. It's I love the movie.
Or a Splinter.
Put a splinter. Yeah. Let's put a splinter into Zombie right now. All right. Well, I think we've got one more to talk about. Garrett, you started us off. Why don't you go ahead and close this out with the last title we were going to talk about tonight?
Yeah, man. Before I do that, I just want to say, I think you picked like the perfect 6 movies for 1979. To be honest with you, like I really think that out of everything that came out, the list of these 6, I think is probably the best list you could have made with everything. I mean, there's other bangers and stuff,
Yeah.
obviously, but I just think these, like to me, are like pretty big heavy hitters all around. And this one's no different. I mean, starting this thing off with Phantasm, which is literally one of my favorite horror movies ever. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
one of my this would probably be top 10 horror movies of all time for me. It's probably it's definitely like my 3rd favorite vampire movie of all time. And that's going to be Salem's Lot, which is very similar in tone as Phantasm, in my opinion. There's something about the tone of this movie that kind of works the same way Phantasm does with me, where you can just kind of have it on and watch it and just like let it just kind of play out. Same thing though, when we talked earlier about slow burn movies, this is another one. Like this is a long ass movie, so much so that I've actually never seen the theatrical version in my life. I've only seen the miniseries, which is the long one. And then in I think the UK, it went to theaters and they had to like chop it way down. And I'm not sure if there's new footage, like different footage in it, or if it's just very heavily cut from the miniseries. I've never seen that version before. And I know there is a VHS tape of that version, which I don't even own, but I don't think there's ever been another disc that's come out with like that theatrical version on there. So when, oh, do you have the theatrical one right there? The movie? It says the movie on it?
Yep.
Knock it out.
See, I only have the VHS, but it's like just the miniseries. That's sick, dude. But yeah, like I love this movie, man. Like this is one that I could watch anytime. I just need to make sure I have time to do it. Like I need to like with my work, like every last Sunday of the month or last weekend of the month, I have to do like a lot of, book work leading into the next month, programming, stuff like that. And like that's a perfect movie sometimes that I'll just like pop on while I'm doing my work for like a couple hours. And it's just I always have a fun ride with it. And it's like if you can get past that the story, or I think it's a good story though. I think it's entertaining. It's informative. You learn the characters, but then shit kind of gets wild like towards the end. And I don't know, man. I think Salem's Lot, in my opinion, is a freaking masterpiece of a movie.
Mhm.
And talking to my uncle who was there when this aired on TV, the story he always told me was like, he goes, dude, you have no idea how it was as a teenager or a young teen watching this for the first time when it aired on TV, and then riding my bike home from my friend's house, and he's like, I never rode so freaking fast in my life in the middle of the night after watching the first part of this movie or the second part or whatever. And that always kind of stuck with me. And I just think that it's well loved, I think, all around, but I think it's a little bit overlooked too as one of the best vampire movies, which is wild because again, it's an adaptation of the book, and it was also basically a made-for-TV movie, and Toby Hooper freaking killed it.
Yeah, he did.
Where would you guys put this as far as Toby Hooper films?
For me, it's got to be probably 2. I think. I'm trying to think. What am I missing?
You sure Eaten Alive is in?
I love Eaten Alive, but it's definitely not up
Would
there.
you take
I do
this
actually have a
vampire
fondness
movie
for that movie.
or his
What?
space? Would you take this vampire movie or his space vampire movie?
Light Force.
Life
Oh,
Force.
Life
Come on.
Force. I would take this personally.
I would too.
What else did he do? Did he do Funhouse?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Jordan, you're gaslighting me.
That's up there though. I would still probably say this is probably for me right behind Texas Chainsaw for me. Probably right behind it, but I do love Funhouse and Life Force.
You always got to appreciate, you always have to appreciate a director who can sustain 3 hours of a movie. You know what I mean? I know he had hell of a source material to work off of,
Sure.
having Stephen King, as your base. But 3 hours is a tough ask to carry a story, and it just never falters in this one.
What was the gap? I mean, did they release them part one, the first, second half at the same time, or was there a pretty significant gap between the releases?
I think it was it might have been like a 2-night event. I don't know if it was a week difference or like a day difference, but I definitely was a 2-day, I think a 2-part miniseries, I think.
2 nights.
2 night. Oh, so
2
it was
nights.
it was a week gap. So it was it aired on November 17th, 1979, and then the second episode aired 1 week later.
Okay.
Wild.
Yeah, man, I think this is great, and I think the length of the film just benefits it even more. I mean, you get not only do you get all the horror elements, but you get to bask in the local town drama in the movie. You know what I mean?
100%.
Dude, I mean, I think everybody's gonna remember the window scene, or the bedroom scene.
Dude.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it is just
Yeah.
clawing and
Yeah, but even little things like the fact that they did the fog, they did the whole effect forwards and then played it in reverse to give it the fog, that really ethereal dream effect. It's a terrifying scene, or him in the corner, waking up, boom, the eyes shooting open. There's some terrifying moments, man. But you get engrossed in just kind of, which is, we talked earlier about Needful Things, Storm of the Century. Stephen King material really lends a hand to patience and building a world that this time of year, August, September, I think it's a perfect time to throw on Salem's Lot, man, and just
For sure.
yeah.
I think that would you guys consider this, as far as Stephen King adaptations, probably in the better tier? Because I feel like it's
100%.
definitely I would probably say this is a top 3 Stephen King adaptation.
It's got to be my favorite personally. It's got to be. That's how much I really just adore this movie. But yeah, I mean, like you said, building the world. I mean, Barlow himself, the look of this vampire is probably one of the best. I mean, he is freaky as hell. I mean, that whole scene with him in the kitchen, he's got the kid, and the basically saying what is he saying to the guy? Your faith against his fate, or whatever, the master. I mean, that whole scene where you see him for the first time that is just, it's incredible. And I was lucky enough to meet the kid who played the kid, and got a picture signed, and also I had one of those crosses with the medical tape and stuff, so he signed that as well. So, and then he sadly died a year later.
Oh, no way.
Wow.
Yeah, he passed a year after I met him. Yeah, this was
Wow.
a couple of years ago too. But yeah, man, I don't know how much more to say about this, but it's one of those things where it's a lot of these movies. If you don't like slow burn and you can't do it, it's probably not going to work for you. Even though we're saying I'm saying this, in my opinion, is a freaking masterpiece of a movie. if you can't sit through 3 hours of dialogue until the last, like, 30 minutes, I mean, it's just not going to work.
Well,
And I've
especially
heard
with
plenty
this
of people
one.
say, like, Salem's Lot is boring as shit. Like, I've heard that, and I can't understand it, but I can understand it at the same time.
Mhm.
It's a
Yeah.
you need to be a specific kind of horror fan, I think, to really like this one.
I can't wait for all the people who said that to talk about how much they love the upcoming Arrow release when they're hyping
Exactly.
that. You know?
It's gonna be like everybody's favorite vampire.
Yeah.
That always happens. Now, let me ask
Yeah.
you this, Steven. How long is that VHS you have right there? Like, what's the runtime on that?
That's what I
Because
was
I've
trying
never
to.
seen that version before, so I don't know what's not in that.
That's what I was trying to find on here because it doesn't show it on the back. Hold on, let me take a
Is it
look.
on the tape?
That's what I was trying to. Oh, good call. Yeah. So this is 112 minutes. So is this condensed?
Yeah, that's like just over 2 hours.
Because I've seen the series, like the mini series in full, but as far as
Because
what's
the
on
Yeah.
miniseries is 183 minutes.
Yeah, so the theatrical is 88 minutes shorter. It says it was very rushed. And actually, the theatrical version substituted more violent alternate takes for some of the vampire scenes.
So that's what I didn't know. I didn't realize if
Interesting.
there was footage in that version that I haven't even seen, and I was hoping so. And I mean, that was one thing. If Arrow can somehow get
Yeah.
both cuts on that
Mhm.
4K or whatever, like that to me is like the most. I have this amazing set from Cinemuseum, who I know aren't everybody's favorite cup of tea. This is the only thing I've ever ordered from those guys, but I mean, it's a
that's sick.
beauty of a
That's
box
cool.
set for 1 and 2. And it's Blu-ray, but it doesn't have the alternate cut. I don't think it's ever been out besides that VHS that Steven has.
So would you guys consider? Because I've seen the miniseries. I haven't gone back and watched this one. I've just had it in my collection. But do you guys consider like the miniseries the definitive way to view it? Then
I would
Probably, but I
assume
mean, I don't
so.
have anything to. If all of a sudden I watch that and I'm like, "Holy shit, these are awesome scenes that I never saw before," then I don't know. Maybe it depends on what they get. They cut. You know,
I'll have to. I'll give it a watch.
Yeah,
Compare
we
and
need a
contrast.
scene-by-scene breakdown.
Do a commentary on it.
yeah. Live cut. You got to watch both of them and do it like a double
Back
live.
to back.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm committed. I love Salem's Lot that much.
Yeah. How would you guys compare Barlow to like Dracula, Nosferatu, or even the Lost Boys?
Oh, that's
Uh,
tough.
Different. I mean, I would think that he's probably closest to Nosferatu than all of them. I think, like as
Yeah.
far as like look and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
um, for what they like, to me, the difference between him is he's almost like he's so far not human. He doesn't even he just growls and stuff. Like there's no like real like
It's
voice
like
to him.
feral.
Yeah, like mostly every other one, like Dracula and stuff, has a voice and talks, and this guy just kind of growls, and he has someone else talking for him. Now, I've never read the book, but I do
Oh, it's so
think that
good.
this wasn't how he was in the book. This was like a very Toby Hooper thing. I think it was a very different situation in the book. If you guys know,
Yeah, I think
uh,
he spoke dialogue, I think, in the
Yep.
book, like lots of dialogue,
Really? Okay.
if I remember correctly.
and I think he had a different look as well. And I also know that they did that sequel in the 90s or the remake in the 90s with Rob Lowe, and it's actually pretty good if you guys
Mhm.
haven't seen it.
Yeah.
When it first came out, it got shit on quite a bit, and I remember being like, oh my god, it's not even close to the same. It was more like the book was, so I watched it again not too long ago, and I said, it's actually a pretty good remake of this. And even the new one that came out, I think there was potential for it to be really good. I thought it was fine. I didn't hate it, but I do feel like it was way too short, and they like took out so much meat to what that movie could have been. It was very rushed.
Which
I mean,
is
you're
what I
trying to take
heard.
yeah, you're trying to take a movie that's like 189 minutes and condense it down to like an hour and 20. I mean, it's very hard to do that. So it just feels very rushed. But like, I mean, I thought Barlow looked pretty good. Some of the effect scenes looked good, and I thought it was promising. And I did hear there was a longer cut, but I don't know if we'll ever see it.
Which is so funny because like Warner Brothers
Oh.
went all in on it chapter 1 and 2. So for them to do that to Salem's Lot was such a weird thing.
That
I
is
could see
weird. That would have
them
been beautiful
releasing
if they
a
would have did a two-parter.
yeah,
Mhm.
or releasing an
For
extended
sure.
cut. I mean, they did the Snyder cut, so it's always possible.
Which is
Yeah,
weird because has anybody heard anything about that even coming? Like, it just seems like it's kind of there was a big premiere on what was it on Hulu or Peacock or something, and then it just
was it
like
Max? I think it was HBO
Yeah.
yeah,
Max.
maybe
Yep.
it was
Yeah,
Max.
with Max.
And then all of a sudden you just never heard about it again. And I'm like, is this even coming out?
Honestly, bro, I kind of forgot about it till you brought it up.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the thing too. I think the whole thing was filmed like years ago, and it took like so many years to even get this thing out. Remember, it kept getting
Well,
pushed back, deleted,
it
delayed. Like
I thought it was shelved for a while, wasn't it?
it was, yeah, it was supposed to come out like a long time ago, probably 5 years ago, maybe, and then it was shelved, and then delayed. It was delayed, then shelved. Then they finally came to a deal where they put it on Max, and then it came out. It was like a big premiere, and then it just kind of vanished.
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, Stephen King had such a crazy run. I mean, one of my favorites, my wife showed me, people barely know, and it's Sometimes They Come Back. That's like
Mhm.
one of
Good,
my
yeah.
That's a good
favorite,
one.
King adaptations and one of my favorite
Mhm.
King movies. And there's so much. I mean, it's hard too. Like I can't imagine. I can like I love reading Stephen King, but like it's a daunting experience. I can't imagine trying to translate that into a
No,
film.
I mean, I'm not much of I have some Stephen King books. My father was heavily into those when I was growing up. And I watched all the movies, but I never sat down and dug deep into one of those books, which I probably should because
They're
I,
good.
I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff about movies into books and stuff. And it's surprising to see how much has changed. Like they said, even Christine is so different from
Mhm.
book to movie that it's almost like if you read the book first and saw the movie, you would have been like, "What the hell is this?" And for me, I that movie is like one of my favorite King adaptation movies, but I don't know the source material to be like, "Wow, this is actually a very different story than what he wrote." Um, it's
Yeah.
it's kind of just crazy to see if you were to read those and how much they do translate into the movies and what's changed and what hasn't.
I will say though, like Stephen King books, I mean, anything ranging from It all the way to Salem's Lot. I mean, the books are just so dense. So to mine through each one of them and hit as much as you can out of it, to incorporate that into an adaptation. I mean, I can't imagine what type of challenge that presents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we were talking about that yesterday, right? With it
Mm-hmm.
for the 90s, your 90s episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I mean, I don't know. I've read a number of his books, and I mean, I think it's like near impossible really to perfect such any of his books feel very dense or very detailed, so it's just
Yeah.
I don't know. We get more misses and hits.
I
for
think
its
there's like three people who have really nailed King on the screen, and it's Frank Darabont. Always had a very good understanding of King material. Mick Garris. I think Mick Garris also had the ability to have like a very close working relationship with King as well. But then most recently, like Mike Flanagan, Doctor Sleep, Gerald's Game, like
Mm.
Life of Chuck, all very like he knows how to find because Stephen King's a lot of, I don't want to say fluff, but like that guy will go on for 4 chapters about how dirty a stop sign is. Like it's like so like trying to go through and pick out the pieces that are going to translate well. And I think Doctor Sleep is one of my favorite adaptations of King's material in a long time.
Mhm.
So Flanagan's really got his finger on that pulse, really well.
He's definitely not short on detail, that's for sure. Like and I feel like any of his books definitely paint the picture. Like you're either really all about it or you're not, because it's tough. I mean, there's even some books I've read by him, and it's like, man, this is just like way, way too in depth for what I'm trying to get out of this.
Yeah.
Did
And a lot of times too, like the movies, you have to be careful because like I mean, we all know, I mean, if you haven't read the book, then but like the young kids part of it ends in an orgy. Like, and it's like, how do you adapt that
Yeah,
to,
well, there you
right,
go.
right.
There it is, guys.
Yeah, I mean, Steven, you didn't read Tommy Knockers by any chance, did you?
Trying to think if I did. It
Like
would.
that one, for whatever reason, my father was like so obsessed with, like growing up. Like he would always have like I can always remember him, not a lot, but he went through a period where he'd always be walking around with like a King book. He was like Pet Cemetery. I have his books and they look like I look at him sometimes and go, "What the hell was he doing with these?" They're literally like so destroyed, like everything's like nothing's ripped, but I'm like, was he get like did he finish a chapter and like whip it across the room out of anger? Like, why is it so beat up? Like, what was he doing with this thing? And he had the cemetery one, and then like he was getting into Tommy Knockers, and he was like telling me like this is the best Stephen King book I've ever read, like da da da. And then I can remember like being a teenager and buying the DVD and watching it. I'm like, this was fucking garbage. Like, I don't know what did you get out of that? So I mean, there's gotta be, like you said, people that just can't do his stuff justice, because there was nothing in that made for TV movie of Tommy Knockers that I thought was remotely like memorable at all.
I
And he
remember.
used to walk around and praise that like it was like his Stephen King's best movie to date. Best
I
book
remember.
to date.
I remember reading the book when I was getting into him initially. So this was years ago, but I remember some of my favorite stuff from him was like the collection of short stories that he did. So like Night Shift and Skeleton Crew, those are the ones
Mm.
that stand out to me. It's like, again, each one of his books, I mean, you really are sitting down and you're committing to something. The short stories, it's like, listen, I love rereading these around Halloween time just because it gets you like in that really creepy vibe, like that fall atmosphere, and that's where I think he shines a little bit more.
Yeah, especially that's where like, people don't realize that like Shawshank Redemption was a short. Green Mile was technically a short, but it was a series of short books. The Mist was another short.
Hmm.
Like his shorts end up becoming, I think, some of his most successful. The Monkey.
Well, we've got The Long Walk coming out here pretty soon. So
The Long Walk is a great book, and I'm happy it's finally getting adapted.
Now, was that a short as well? I don't know that one at all.
No, that's a full. That's a.
oh, it
that's
is. I thought it was a short. Okay.
No, it's a shorter novel for him. But oh wait, hold on.
Or was that one of his first though? Wasn't it?
It's definitely early. It's early for him. I think I have. I think it's a standalone. Yeah, it's definitely a standalone novel. Um, just trying to remember. I think it was after Carrie, so I think it was early 80s. Let's see. So it was, yeah, no, 1979 it was published. 384 pages, so it's a full length.
Okay.
But that's like trying to take his book like The Stand and making that a
Oh,
movie. How
God.
hard that must have been.
Bro,
It was just
I
wild.
love that book, but it's a gauntlet getting
Dude,
through that one.
the problem with The Stand is that you're introduced to like 77 characters who never exist beyond whatever chapter they're in. And it's
Right.
like, and then believe it or not, there is a director's cut of his book. There is an extended version of The Stand that's like, I think it's like 1,385 pages. And that's like my least favorite Stephen King material, is everything to do with that book. I think my wife and I have almost every first edition of his books except for The Stand,
Really?
because I hate that. Yeah.
Wow. Hardcover or soft, like paperback? What do you guys have?
Hardcovers.
Wow.
We even have, she found for me a first edition of the Bachman books,
Mm.
which was when he was writing under the pseudonym Richard Bachman. He wrote a story called Rage about a school shooter that
Hmm.
was directly referenced by the shooters in the Columbine as like reference. So they actually
Wow.
removed it in the 90s, and you can only if you find the first couple editions can you read it. Or they did release like a standalone of it in the 70s, but that goes for thousands of dollars.
I mean, all of those of first edition hardcovers are tough to find, man. Like I've searched for them like around and even on eBay and stuff. They're hard to get the hardcover ones. I have a lot of like the paperbacks, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome, man. Do you even
Wow.
have like what was the silver bullet ones called? Something werewolf, right?
Cycle of the Werewolf.
Mhm.
That's cool, yeah.
We do, yeah. There's a local bookstore near us that's really good. Because like most of the first editions were printed under like Viking Press, or I forget what the other press company was for the first editions, and they get them so often that like I don't think we've ever paid more Then there's a couple that we've paid like $100 for. Like we just found a first edition of Carrie. I think we paid like around $100 for that, but most of them we got for like 10, $15.
Wow,
That's
cool.
cool.
Awesome.
Well, to bring it back, we'll bring it back to Salem's Lot, then we'll wrap this up. So we know Toby Hooper, right? He did Salem's Lot, and he kind of turned around from Texas Chainsaw and went to this. There might have been a movie in between. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was Eaten Alive
Eaten
between
Alive.
this. Yeah.
Mhm.
I believe it was.
Was there? Do you see, or was there any kind of gritty style carried over from the Texas Chainsaw that he kind of implemented into Salem's Lot that you guys noticed or anything?
Hooper's kind of funny because it feels like Eaten Alive is like Eaten Alive feels like it was made by the guy who made Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but
Yes.
nothing else after that ever feels that way
Mm-mm.
again.
Mm-hmm.
I
You know, like
agree.
the Fun House maybe a little bit, but
Mhm. Yeah.
and then you have
This, I mean, I
Poltergeist.
don't. Yeah, like I don't. Yeah, I don't see it. I think this is pretty, especially for a made TV movie. It feels pretty slick, to be honest with you. Like,
Yeah.
it
of a
feels
movie.
cinematic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
It
Sure.
doesn't really feel like when I've seen it and I've noticed it doesn't feel too much like you would see a mini series type movie.
No, it feels bigger than that. This feels
Yeah.
very much like it was a theatrical movie to me.
For sure. Well, guys, that kind of wraps it up. That we went through all 6 movies, came out in 1979. What a year.
Yeah.
Did I say,
There were
what
some
did I say?
bangers.
79? Whatever. Anyways, yeah, lots of good stuff. I just wanted a little self-promote here. I just hit 1,501 subscribers. So
Nice.
I figured I'm going to do
Oh,
this.
yeah.
That's when I turn my camera off and grab this. I'm going to do a giveaway. So whoever grabs it first, good luck. I'm just going to throw it up there. This is the Jurassic World Ultimate Collection. So it's got all the movies up till the.
Oh, wow.
So
Hurry,
it's a
Chris.
little
It's
digital
not
code.
too late.
You grab it, Chris? Anyway, so if anybody wants that, snag it. There you go. There's all of them.
Yes.
So thank
Okay.
you for all
Jordan
that.
giving back to the people.
I try.
Nothing says 1979 like Jurassic Park.
Hey, you know what? It's what I had. I was like, I need to do something. I
Yeah.
didn't plan a giveaway.
No, that's okay.
So, anyways, well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Garrett, I know we've been trying to get you on to do something, but we got you finally. And
This worked great, man. Like I said,
Yeah.
you showed me these 6 movies, or you said 1979. I was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we talked. We kind of want to get you back for the year the Lost Boys came out. I think that'd
Of course,
be
87. Let's do it.
yeah. I think that'd be perfect for
Yeah.
you. So
Sounds perfect, man.
awesome. Well, guys, thank you for coming on and hanging out. To everyone in the chat, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Garrett, I'm
Thank you,
sure
guys.
everyone here follows you, but if not, go ahead and self-promote yourself a little bit.
Yeah, if you're not following me over on the YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or anything like that, you can find me at Born2BeRad, talking all things horror, movies, nostalgia, and collecting. Definitely check it out. I just did a video talking about 50 overlooked slasher movies from my DVD collection. So just the DVD collection, 50 overlooked slashers. Just did a video about that. And I'm on a podcast called the Anchor Bay Archives, where we go over all Anchor Bay physical media from that company that, to me, was a precursor to all the stuff we get now, especially when it comes to the horror genre. So definitely check that out. Newest episode is on the Sleepaway Camp Red Cross box set. We dive deep into it, talking to people that were there working for the company Anchor Bay and helping with this release, and what the real true story is behind one of the most controversial box sets in horror history.
I watched that video you did, and it's so crazy to me that there was no real like overseeing of everything. It was just like, put it out, you know what I mean?
right.
Throw it out
Yeah,
there.
we didn't have a legal department at the
Yeah,
time.
right. But I have to blame you and Christian both for forcing my hand to go get Anchor Bay titles, like stuff like this. You know,
Damn it, Garrett.
it's just another thing.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
man, you got to respect what led to what we all love now. You know,
Absolutely.
For sure. Steven, what about you, man?
We've got our Texas Chainsaw Massacre ranking coming up between Chris and I for Beyond the Blood. very exciting. And we've got a couple episodes coming up that are in the works. So super pumped for that. As always, you guys can find me at After Hours Video. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, you name it. And yeah, those are the main things I can think of off the top of my head right now.
Sweet. You and all your VHSs. I was looking at that when I blew you up on the screen.
Yeah,
That's why he blew you up.
I know it wasn't to give me the outro.
I just want to look at your little spinning shelf with all your VHSs.
Listen, man,
Same.
you call me anytime. We'll do a walkthrough.
There you go. Hey, there's your next video, right there, Chris.
Oh,
What you got?
as always, you guys can find me YouTube and Instagram at Bearded Film Guy. Co-host of Beyond the Blood podcast. Our Texas Chainsaw Massacre episode is doing incredibly well. So if you guys haven't gone and checked that out yet, please do. We talk about the 1996 commentary track. That's incredible. We have our physical media episode coming out with that Jordan was on. That's going to be coming out. We also have Texas Chainsaw Massacre ranking, and we're a couple weeks away from releasing our episode on the Devil's Rejects. So you can always find me over there.
Nice. And then the Movie Den, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, X, I guess it's called now.
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. Hey, I got to fund this collection somehow, man. Come on, man.
Jesus.
I'm on Facebook too. No, it's literally just there to just repost what I'm posting on Instagram. But anyways, yeah. What have I done lately, man? Well, you guys are going to check this out. I just did kind of a review for Anthropophagus and Absurd. So check that out. Those were really fun videos to do and really fun double feature, I think, and great movies. Speaking of Zombie 6. But
love those movies.
Yeah, guys, I think that's it. That's a wrap for this video. Any last words, guys?
No, I just want to thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for coming on. All right, guys. Thank you for coming on. And of course, you guys take care.
See you guys.